Big Sales National Football Show. Appreciate you guys very much. As you come aboard the program here, we so look forward to you guys each and every single day. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit the like button. All super chats go to the top. We tell you guys this each and every single day. Thank you so much for coming aboard with us. What are we now? Let me get this here. We are now 2 days from the Los Angeles Chargers starting camp. This is incredible. On the 12th of July, you ready? The 12th of July, the Los Angeles Chargers go to training camp. I mean, incredible. Incredible, incredible, incredible. We are right around the corner. We're less than 2 weeks away from the Eagles starting their training camp as well. Good afternoon to everybody as well. We appreciate it. Angelo Cataldi, the legendary sports talker, will join us. That'll be at 3:30. Xander will be in his spot. We'll move him down the rotation. We'll put him at 4:30. And we so look forward to you guys. Once again, you guys bring a lot to the table each and every single day, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. By the way, guys, ain't no days off on the Big Sills Show. There's always something to talk about, and there's always something, I would say, to complain about. I want to show you something here before we get going. I want to show you what a contradiction. And the other day, we had our friend Howard Eskin on. Okay? We had Howard Eskin on the other day. And he was talking about the state of sports talk radio. My friend Joe Kraus, who owns and his children who run this network, he's been in sports talk a long time. And he kind of knows what I'm talking about here. And just to put it in a nutshell here, yeah, not to go deep into this, but Howard's like, talent level in sports talk radio today is just not very good. He's right, it's not. We'll talk to Angelo at 3:30 about the same stuff. I want to show you something, though. How many people in here have ever heard of Crossing Broad? By the way, they haven't asked with us for some reason. And I think anytime, get this, you know why you're relevant? People talk about you. Always remember that. People talk about you. If you're not relevant, they don't talk about you. They just don't. That's the lesson I learned a long time ago. And I got to give my boy Joe Kraus some love here. Always punch up, Sills. Well, here, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Hey, Joe, I'm going to take a lesson from you. I'm going to punch up because I'm going to show you something here. So here's the headline in one of the stories here, based off our story, when we had Howard Eskin on, who I do think is the godfather of sports talk radio on the East Coast, him and Francesa. You can make the argument. Those are the two most important sports talk guys. And then came Angelo. Okay? This is what this guy wrote about me. Here's the headline. Guy who inspired today's sports talk radio talent says sports talk radio no longer has any talent. Howard Eskin went on the Dan Sileo show recently, 2 dinosaurs trying to stay relevant in 2025. That's a contradiction just in the first line. I don't have to read it anymore. You know why? If I'm trying to stay relevant, why are you writing about me? It's a contradiction in itself in the opening line. Hey, guy, try to be more talented. I mean, you contradict yourself in your first 10 words. 2 dinosaurs trying to stay relevant, and yet you write about us. How in the fuck is that not a contradiction in itself? I don't have to read the word salad article that he wrote. I never did. I don't care. How in the world am I starving for being relevant when you're writing about me? And if I'm a dinosaur, why are you writing about me? Why do you worry if I'm asking people for money? Why do you worry if I'm taking shots at Mike Missinelli? Why are you worried about me when I take a shit on the Fanatic? Why are you worried about me? I'm not worried about you, dude. The shit you post is garbage. I don't use one bit of it on my show, except when you write about me. So you become relevant because of me, not anything you're doing. There's nothing worth reading on that shit. Nothing. I get this. I want to read the first line again. Howard Eskin went on the Dan Sileo show recently, two dinosaurs trying to stay relevant in 2025. The fine folks at Barrett Sports Media transcript some of the quotes. Actually, they aired the interview too. I mean, Barrett Media, I know the guy. And the guy who quoted me was my former program director, John Mamola, at WDAE, when he saw me get 10 shares. So I don't know this guy, Kevin. What's his name? What's here? Kevin, what's his name? Kevin Kinkead. Kinkead? Like, I'll remember that in 5 minutes. I won't. I find it funny. Two dinosaurs trying to stay relevant, and that's your opening line in your column. Boy, it must be a slow news day. When the opening line of a column on Cross-Dressing Broad is Dan Sileo and Howard Eskin, two dinosaurs trying to stay relevant, and yet you're writing about us. I have to figure out how that's not a contradiction in itself. I mean, thank you very much. I guess I appreciate you keeping me relevant, I guess. Yeah. Holy cow, man. I guess that just shows you the power of the program. Dude. Hey, get this, man. I can't do shit, Joe. I mean, I just can't do anything without somebody taking shot. You know what, man? That's okay. Every single day, people take shots at us. It's all right. And you guys are trying to sit here and tell people that WIP is like, you know, being a little negative towards Hurts. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Guys, hit the like button. I don't want to stay on this too long because seriously, I don't want to bore you too long. Holy cow. One more time, though, man. That's funny. Howard Eskin and Dan Sileo. Howard Eskin went on Sileo's show recently, two dinosaurs trying to stay relevant in 25. I didn't ask you to print the story. I didn't ask you to follow the story. Hell, I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who you are. I find it awesome that people still find us relevant after all these years, and no matter what the platform is. That's not what this is about. This is about, guess what? The power of the program. You're looking at the micro and not the macro here. The macro is people do watch the show. People do listen to the show. Media picked the story up because of what we had. Also, they picked the story up. That story going around on Goldberg has been in every publication. By the way, you want to hear something great? Let me get that text message. You ready for this? They're going to use some of the interview that we did with Goldberg when Goldberg fights this weekend. So you're going to see the logo, and you're going to see the show's logo, and you're going to see Goldberg and Sileo with JAKIB Sports and the logo this weekend at WWE. How's that? Okay? That's why JAKIB is number one digitally. It's the number one digital platform in the market. End of story. End of story. That's why they write about us. Thank you, Joe. The #1 platform in Philadelphia sports. By the way, keep taking shots. I love it. I love it. All right. Hey, that kind of juiced me up a bit. Thank you for making me relevant. Well, Tyler, you must have missed the Bill Goldberg interview that we did. Was it 2 weeks ago or last week? I forget. I think it was 2 weeks ago that we did with Bill Goldberg. He'll be fighting this weekend for a championship. Yes. Tyler, one of the biggest shows in Philadelphia with the biggest names. We get them all on here. And as we're getting closer to the football season, I'll find this hard. I'll tell you what, a lot of people on vacation this week. We don't take any vacations. That's not what this is about here. Okay? Hey, Sills, bring them on. Let us test what they know. Hey, they won't come up. What are you, crazy? I'll tell you what I've become really great friends with. Howard Eskin and Angelo. And you know what they say about the program? They don't do very many of them. Angelo doesn't do any but my show. Not on a consistent basis. He just does not. And he says that we're the best in Philly. That's quite a compliment. And I can't thank him enough. I heard a great conversation going on. By the way, Xander's killing it on Birds 365. He's absolutely killing it. Him and John are having generic conversations. Do you know what I mean by generic conversations? Let's just talk some sports. Nothing's cookie cutter. Let's just talk some sports. Let's just talk. I started talking about Jordan Mailata. I'm going to get to that here in a minute. Sills, I know it's 2 months out, but who will you go against? Who will go against worst replacement, Hunt or Smith? No, I'm going to get to that. It's not going to be. It's going to be some, I forget the kid's name. It's not any of those guys. It's a devastating injury to the Buccaneers' chances at going to the NFC Championship game. And I'm going to get to that story. You know, as a matter of fact, I'll get to that story now. Because it does affect the Bucs. And it affects the Eagles, too. Because would we not say this? Would we not say this about the Eagles? The two teams that have given the Eagles the toughest games in the NFC over the last 2 years have been Rams and Bucs. Would we not say? Not the regular season game of a year ago, more so the snow playoff game where the Rams played pretty good and were a possession away from knocking you out of the playoffs. Would we not say that they were the most competitive team you played a year ago in the playoffs, including the Super Bowl, right? And the other team would be the Buccaneers. Especially in the last two, right? Well, let me give you this. So help me out here. On July 8th, Tristan Wirfs went under the knife. I've been doing a show in Tampa, Morning Sports, and I ripped the Bucs a new one. I fucking laid into them because this is what I said. Watch this. Let me go here. I'll tell you who the replacement's going to be. For Tristan Wirfs, Tristan Wirfs is in the conversation with Penei Sewell, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, and it's him. Those guys are in the same conversation of the best tackles in football. And do you know what the Bucs' plan is for Tristan Wirfs, who went under the knife? It's Charlie Heck. Who the fuck is Charlie Heck? Who's Charlie Heck? So wait a minute. He was walking around minicamp and OTAs in a knee brace. Okay? 2 days ago, he went under the knife. The Bucs came back and said he's going to miss Atlanta and then Houston, too. 2 games on the road. Well, I'm like this. You fuckers lied during the minicamp in the offseason. What would make you think I don't think you're going to put him on the PUP list, which means he misses the Eagle game? He's going to miss the Eagle game. Who was giving the Bucs advice here? What's your team doctor name? Dr. Seuss? Bro, you knew the guy needed a knee surgery. He's the best player on that team. And you're going against the Eagles in week 4, and you won't have your best player and your left OT protecting the quarterback when Nolan Smith hits that fucker upside his head and ends your season completely. Charlie Hack is your replacement. This is decisions, once again, that cost you opportunities. These are decisions the Eagles don't make. They make the right move. Jesus criminy, man. July 8th, 10 days out from the start of training camp, you decide to go under the knife with the probability you'll be on the PUP list. That's mandatory 4 games. No, Lamar. Who the fuck is Charlie Heck? I don't even know if I like him. Who the fuck is Charlie Heck? You know what a cliff diver is? Guy jumps like from 50 feet off the ground or off the side of a mountain into the water. That's how far the talent level is between Charlie Heck and Tristan Wirfs. And you're playing against the defending Super Bowl champions that you're going to get a barometer on how good you are and your best player. He's better than Mayfield. He's a better player than Mayfield. And you decided on July 8th to go under the knife. Fucking disaster. Dude, you are not blocking Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith with Charlie Hack. I do know that. I do know that. If I'm not mistaken, I think the kid Heck played at Notre Dame maybe too. So what? Mike Golick's kid played at Notre Dame. That don't make him good. Holy shit. Yeah, and get this. Dirty Eagles. Once again, get this. The Buccaneers took a step backwards, and it was self-inflicted. The Eagles had to do business decisions so that they can ensure their future. Who's doing the right thing? Man, right there in a nutshell, the Philadelphia Eagles are running circles around teams like the Bucs and every other organization in pro football. I mean, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Once again, shows you the making processes. That it shows you the situation that you have. Okay? It shows you the situation that you have around the league. The Eagles are just smarter than everybody else. Okay? Shill's about to adjust the Eagles' win record before the season starts. We'll see, man. I thought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be a team that was going to have an interesting game against the Eagles in week 4. And if I'm sounding like sky is falling on the Bucs, yeah, you lost your best player at one of the most critical positions. That'd be like losing Jordan Mailata. It'd be like losing Lane. It's a stupid play. Angelo will join us, Cataldi, at 3:30 Eastern time. I want to make a comment to you. I heard the guys in a lengthy conversation about Jordan Mailata, and you tell me if you think this is correct. I think there's a higher upside for Jordan Mailata than Lane Johnson. When everything is said and done, Jordan Mailata will be a better ball player than Lane Johnson. And Lane's spectacular. He'll be a better ball player. I've been telling you for 3 years that guy's the best athlete on your team, and it's not close, really. It's just not close. He's your best athlete. He's got a higher upside than any ball player on your team. There's nobody. Cooper, Q, Hurts, Devontae. There's nobody with a higher upside on your football team. Jalen Carter, nobody. Nobody has a higher upside than Jordan Mailata. Nobody. And I really don't think it's really all that close. Maybe Carter. We'll see. No way. Just no way. He's too great an athlete. There is just no way. All the things the guys were saying on Birds 365, let me expand it. I've never seen a story like that in my entire life where a guy never knew how to fucking play left tackle, not right guard, where you have an interchangeable piece there in your old line every year. I'm talking about left offensive tackle that if you were going to put in order here, okay? If you were going to put in order, okay, the most important positions, they would be QB, left tackle, corner, and center. Those are your most important positions on the field. And look what the Eagles have. Mailata, Hurts, Cam, Q. Address the most important positions. Left tackle is one of the hardest positions to play in all of NFL football. Okay? Right tackle is not as hard. Plain and simple. Most teams are right-handed. You're taking on the blind side of a quarterback. And on top of that, I'll tell you where Jordan's gotten better. Second pass rush moves. I always thought he got a little bit crossed up with the guy who had second moves. Not speed guys, knowledgeable guys. Why? Because he hasn't been in the game that long, and he hasn't played football as long as everyone else that's in the league. It makes sense. The more reps he plays, the more years he plays. By the time he's 32, he might be one of the greatest players ever to play the position. That's how good he is. You see it when he plays. Hand placement, his speed, how fast he is, how quick he is, how tough he is, how he gets up on second level. I'll tell you this. I'd like to see if Dallas Goedert could beat Jordan Mailata in a 40. I don't believe he could. I don't believe Dallas Goedert could beat him in a 40-yard dash. I just don't. I think he's got more upside. And by the way, I think Lane's one of the best, if not one of the best players ever to play. Surely in the last quarter century, he's been one of the best, if not the best offensive tackle in football. That guy's better. Or, we take it back. That guy's got more talent. He's a more talented player than Lane. Now, will he have the kind of career? It's a different story. Remember what I told you the other day? Guys can have more talent. That don't mean you're going to have a better career. So many more intangibles go along with that. Get this. Like I said, you see this person here, Lamar? You stop. Why? Aaron Rodgers is a better talent than Tom Brady. Tell you that all the time. Didn't have a better career. Talent will carry you so far. Intangibles, smarts, toughness, team around you, quarterback you're playing with. Look at Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas played on one of the worst organizations in pro football history and still made it to Canton. Only other player I can think of that never played football that became a good player was Christian Okoye, who was a fullback with the Kansas City Chiefs. Okoye played at a college in California called Azuna Pacific. I think that was the name of it. He did play college football. Azusa Pacific, I think the name was. Some small school in California. Azusa Pacific was something like that. Okay? Yeah, that's it. That's where Okoye played. I don't know if they've ever even had a player come out of there ever since. I don't even know if they have a football program anymore. It's a religious school? Okay. I've only heard of him out of it. Now, if you're talking about never playing the game, that would be like Antonio Gates. He played college basketball. Or Jimmy Graham. I think he played 1 year at Miami, but he was a hoop player at UM. So guys like that. Tony Gonzalez was a basketball player at Cal. Let's not forget, Julius Peppers won a national championship at North Carolina. He was a reserve on that Carolina national title basketball team. And he played on that UNC hoop team. And he, of course, played college football at North Carolina, too. So it would be something like that. But he never put a helmet on. And I think he's got more talent. I think he's a better talent than Lane. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have a better career. So many kids come out of college, folks, that have more talent. That don't mean you're going to have a better career. It just doesn't mean that. Lane has had a sensational, by the way, knowledge. What's the one area you think Lane kills Jordan Mailata in? What's the one area you think that Lane Johnson destroys Jordan Mailata? What would be the one? What would be the one area? He's not a better athlete. He's not a better athlete than Jordan Mailata. Here's why. The guy never played football. He didn't even know how to put a helmet on. There you go, right there, weapon. Knowledge. Lane's knowledge of the sport. Lane's knowledge of the sport separates him amongst the other offensive linemen. And who his teacher is. If you're taught by Shakespeare to write a sonnet versus a guy who is an English teacher in high school, who do you think is going to have the better education on how to write a sonnet? The guy who invented the sonnet and wrote the sonnets? Or do you think the guy who's a school teacher that teaches fifth grade? Get this. He's not a better player. He's a more knowledgeable player. Mailata is right now, again, a year ago, I heard Sanders say it. He was the highest graded football player in the league last year. Jordan Mailata, at any position in the league. Get this, though. Here's Bub. Wasn't Lane a high school quarterback? High school. Jordan Mailata didn't even play football. How could a guy who never played a sport before be a second-team All-Pro and the highest graded player in the league? How's that possible? He's only played football 8 years of his life. Do you know what that education really means when you have only played football 8 years of your life? That's like high school. That's like high school experience. 4 years playing junior football, 4 years in high school. You have not seen how good this guy's going to be yet. This is who Lane is, which is fab. Get this, guys. Why in the world do you get so offended when I compare somebody else to a legendary player like Lane Johnson? And you think somehow that's taking a shit on Lane? You're ridiculous. Most of you are fucking retarded with that. Honestly, it's not a slam. It's just not. It's not a slam to go that. I'm comparing him to the highest graded player, who was the highest graded player, to a guy who's going to Canton. Do you not understand? Lane's not the best offensive tackle that's ever played. Does that rub you wrong too? There's about 10 guys who are better offensive tackles than him in the history of our league. Cross-dressing broad calling you a dinosaur is not a slam? No. If I'm such a dinosaur, why are you writing columns on me? Hey, the real Zeal. If I'm so not relevant and I'm such a dinosaur, why are you writing columns on me? Did you ever think that that was kind of contradicting his own column? Two dinosaurs trying to be relevant? I don't know. Why are you writing about me? Hey, yeah, right. Thanks. Sure. I guess. Whatever. Most guys start at 4 and 5 years old in football. That's right. It's still wild to me that Mailata came from New Zealand to become an NFL All-Pro is insane. And a $25 million a year guy. It's a fucking insane story. It's an absolutely insane story on the Jordan Mailata story. Let me think of one. The Kurt Warner story is insane. Guy from nowhere. Zach Bond's story is a pretty wild one, too. The Zach Bond story is pretty wild. I won't lie. I mean, guy was a special teams guy. New Orleans had him. New Orleans didn't know what they were doing with him, and he's an all-pro in his first year starting in the NFL, and they didn't know that. Shame on Mickey Loomis. James Harrison is a great one. Okay, yep. Got cut a bunch of times, played in the World League like I did. And goes on to be who I think one day will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Absolutely true. He's better play. Hey, Lane is a great football player. Here, let me put it out here to you. Mailata and Lane are not better than Jason Peters. That's not a slam. All three of those guys may end up in Canton. Two for sure. How's that a rip? How is that a rip? It's not. It's actually a pat on the back. You guys, I mean, you get so sensitive when someone says this guy is better than that guy. You got to put everything into context, though. Look, when we're talking about Tyrod Taylor and Teddy Bridgewater, that's insulting. If I went like this to you, hey, Jalen Hurts, Teddy Bridgewater, Tyrod Taylor, those three guys, kind of remind me of that's a rip. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar, and Hurts, that's not a rip. That's not a rip. Tom Brady is a great story. 199th player taken, 6th round, 7 Super Bowls. and the greatest quarterback ever to play in many people's eyes. Absolutely, it's a great story. Okay, that's right. This is a fair. It's like we're comparing the quality of Lamborghinis. There's still Lamborghinis, right? What Lamborghini or what Aston Martin do you like? I'm an Aston Martin guy. Okay, which one do you like? I mean, I don't know. I'll take the blue one. The blue or the red one? Okay, the blue. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest talent in the history of the sport. There's no quarterback that's ever played the game with more talent than Aaron Rodgers. Is he the best player at the position? No. There's other guys better. There's your comparison. Jordan Mailata is Aaron Rodgers. Now, will he become Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady? And then Anthony Munoz? Let me say this to you. If Jordan Mailata has 3 Super Bowl rings by the time he's done playing, he'll be a first ballot Canton, Ohio guy. It'll be one of the greatest offensive line stories of all time. John said something about him being a 7th rounder. Let me ask you something here. That shit's over. Do you think Larry Allen being a 12th round draft choice, when people look at Larry Allen, and Larry Allen's the greatest offensive guard in the history of pro football, do you think at the end of the day anybody cares that he was a 12th round draft choice out of Humboldt County or Humboldt State University? He was a 12th round draft choice. A 12th round draft choice. One of the absolutely, if not the greatest guard ever to play. Had no bearing. No bearing. Okay? No bearing on anything when it came to that stuff, when you're talking about the greatest. Okay? I mean, nobody cares that he was a 12th rounder. Jason Peters was also a 12th round, a late round draft pick. Okay? Really? You never had a player better than that in your O-line, in the history of your organization. Larry Allen's one of the top 5 O-linemen of all time. One of the top 5 linemen that's ever played. You don't have any of that. The Cowboys don't. Or excuse me, he's a Cowboy. The pick a team. The Rams, including Jackie Slater. Never had anybody like that. That could have been. Peters was a UDFA. So I guess his 9 Pro Bowls, he made the Pro Bowl 9 times. Kyle, look that up and see if he was a UDFA. Guy was a UDFA, undrafted free agent. Guy's a great ball player. Not rip. It was a great conversation on Jordan Mailata and the respect that those guys showed today. But again, I wanted to accentuate. He was an undrafted free agent, Jason Peters. And he made 9 Pro Bowls. Why do you think that Jordan Mailata doesn't have Pro Bowls around his name? Why do you think? Why do you think Jordan Mailata doesn't have Pro Bowls? By the way, this will affect his Hall of Fame status. He's been in the league 8 years. And, I mean, if he doesn't have over 6, he ain't going. I don't care how good he is. Why do you think? Absolutely. Ain't very many right tackles that are very good. Because John's right. Back in the day, do you know why Lane has made Pro Bowls? Back in the day, they would pick the 2 best left tackles, and those would be your 2 best tackles. Now they go right tackle, left tackle. There's too many good left tackles. That's why Mailata doesn't have any. You've got Penei Sewell. You've got Tristan Wirfs. You've got the guy in Los Angeles with the Chargers. The guy up in New York also is a guy who gets a lot of votes for the Pro Bowl. There's more competition for the Pro Bowl at left tackle than right tackle. That's why Lane has more. Lane wouldn't have those. Common sense. They changed the rule because they would go like this. If they stuck to the rules of the past, do you know who the Pro Bowl tackles would be? They would be Penei Sewell and Tristan Wirfs. That's why. But they go right tackle, left tackle now. They've changed the voting. I'm not saying he's not deserving. I'm saying they changed the rule. Changed the rule. That's why Lane's got more Pro Bowls. It's not that he's not good, but in the old way of voting, you just went with the two best left tackles. And those were your starting Pro Bowl tackles and all-pro tackles. Now, you separate that and you go right tackle, right guard, center, left guard, left tackle. Before, they would just take the two best guards. Now they quantify it. Okay? He's been in the league longer than those guys. He's just not getting the fame because he's a seventh rounder. I believe. And how about this? Well, Larry Allen was a 12th round pick. He had no problem making Pro Bowls. He's got more competition at left tackle. And they don't want to give him his justice on him being the better player. And you know what plays into a fact? Team records. Last year, who had the most wins last year? Who had the most wins last year in the NFC and the NFL? Who had the most wins? Does anybody know? I hate to keep having to educate you guys. Okay. Lions. Who is the starting left tackle on the All-Pro team? Anybody know? Who had the starting left tackle? Here, let me take a look at it. Let's go down the list here. 2024 NFL All-Pro team. I don't even know. Tristan Wirfs and in Mailata. Sewell was the right tackle. Why? Because he had 15 wins. That's why he made the Pro Bowl first team over Lane. Wins. He was on the better team, they thought. It's a regular season award. Tristan, they think is better because Tristan is a first-round pick. He has been an all-pro at 4 positions, and they just think he's a better player. Do I think that Tristan Wirfs is a better player than Jordan Mailata right now? I do, but not a better athlete. Tristan Wirfs is a great athlete. Okay? Bro, all-pros is a regular season accomplishment. Has nothing to do with postseason. Zero. People think Wirfs is a better player. Here's your all. Here, this is how the all-pro team works. So Penei Sewell, okay? Creed Humphrey over Ragnow. 2 teams won 15 ball games. Okay? Joe Tooney. Left guard, outstanding. 15 wins. Okay? I mean, here were your tackles. Sewell, Wirfs, Lane. That's how it works. Stats? Wins aren't stats, dude. Wins aren't stats. Usually the first team All-Pro quarterback wins the MVP. I know. Well, I thought Lamar Jackson was the MVP a year ago. Actually. I thought play matters, not wins. It does. But the selection over one of those players versus the other, are you trying to suggest that Penei Sewell wasn't qualified to be the first team All-Pro right tackle? He was. He had a great year. He had a great season. He was a great player. No, play on the field trumps everything. But when it comes down to ties, who was on the better team? Bro, I voted for these things. I know how this thing works. I've showed you my Pro Bowl ballot where I was on it. I know how this shit works. Rules have changed a bit. Sills, Joe Tooney might be the only lineman that was under the Patriots when he was drafted that might go to Canton. True. Okay? Lane should have won that. We all know that. That's not true. I don't know that. Penei Sewell had a great year too. He was on a team that won more regular season games and won home field advantage. And when it all comes to ties, the media guys are going to vote for that. The Eagles didn't win home field. The Lions did. Being named All-Pro does not constitute postseason. Nothing. Has nothing to do with it. Or it would be completely unfair to the players that are better. Like I said, you guys still think that winning a Super Bowl supersedes All-Pro. It doesn't. Has nothing to do with it. Hey, you can win Super Bowls and it have nothing to do with you being named All-Pro or being named Pro Bowler or who the other people in the league thinks better or what players are better. That has nothing to do with it. Jalen Hurts winning the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP has not changed people's opinions on his ability. Has not done any of that. It's changed their opinion on his journey and who he is. It's not a rip. It's fact. Get this. Let me see what he's saying here. So you're telling me that one extra team win trumps the fact that Lane had better stats than Sewell. Well, what the fuck do you think trumped it? Hey, Ben, you're asking your own question for a guy who was named first team All-Pro. What do you think? What do you think trumped Penei Sewell then being named first team All-Pro over Lane? What do you think trumped it? Just curious. So you're trying to tell me you think one went, well, then what else did? Help me out here. If you think that he played so much better, answer the question. Then what trumped it? Get this. That's not an answer. He wasn't better. Then what trumped it? You're trying to tell me one win trumped Penei Sewell being named first team All-Pro over Lane. Lane had a better year. What the fuck, man? Then what? Answer the question. No, regular season stats, Lane versus Sewell. Dude, what and how did Penei Sewell be the first? How was he named first team All-Pro over Lane? Tell me. How? 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 He can't answer it. You didn't have a better year. That's not an answer. There you go. Man. Come on, man. There we go. What's it? Here's another one. The reason he was named the head of lane was because of the record. And they won home field. That's right. Does that have anything to, again, that's why he was named. And by the way, it mattered to Lane because he said it did. Remember when we used to say, how the Indians say, what? Hi, and raise our hand. I don't know what you're talking, brother. I don't know. I'm off base on that. Sills, we use the Super Bowl to counter Jalen not having a better year than Burrow. It's the same thing. Jalen had a better year than Burrow. You mean the Eagles did? That's what you mean, right? The Eagles had a better year than Cincinnati. And Jalen played great in the Super Bowl. He surely did. So a team win got an individual voted in. Gotcha. Well, what else? Once again, dude, you're answering your own questions. I mean, every time you post something, I don't really have to comment. I'm not sure what else to say to you. The media is going to give Penei Sewell, if it's even, they're going to go with the guy who had the better season. Then they're going to look at the team that got the best numbers, the best quarterback, the best running back, who won home field advantage during the regular season. And that was the Lions had a better regular season than you did. Are you under some sort of guise that you had a better regular year? Hey, Ben, do you think the Eagles had a better regular season than the Lions did a year ago? You didn't. They won their division and they won home field. And that's what all pros voted on. It's not a postseason award. There's not postseason all-pro teams. You didn't have a better year than Detroit did last year, did you? Okay, no one's debating that. Bro, you didn't have a better regular season than the Detroit Lions. They were in a tougher division, too. They had 3 teams with 10-plus wins. So what I was saying is we can't use team wins against Sewell and not use it against Jalen. I'm not the one picking the Pro Bowl team. I didn't say that. That's not my metric here. That's not how I do it. That's how they vote for the all-pro team. You're arguing with me over shit I don't do. And that I'm telling you how they get there. Their division was a fraud. What was the East then? Washington and who? New York and Dallas? Bro, it's not my system. I'm glazing what? I didn't tell you anything but how the system is run. You're the one with your panties in a bind over the shit. I didn't pick the team. That's how they pick it. I'm not telling you it's right or wrong. I'm telling you that's how they went there. Nobody's fucking glazing. It's how they pick the process. It's why Mailata doesn't have Pro Bowls. I'm trying to explain to you. Guys, we're talking today about why doesn't Jordan Mailata have a ton of Pro Bowl appearances? Well, there's a lot of company in that room for left tackle. It's not my process. Bro, it ain't my fucking system. I didn't pick it. Detroit's division was tough. They had 3 out of 4 teams make the playoffs. I know. You're getting mad at me for the way that those guys select Pro Bowl teams, and you wonder why Jordan Mailata is not on the team. I'm fucking telling you why. I mean, dude, you're glazing what? Telling you how the process works? So you think telling the, once again, just like people just posted in here, you'd rather be lied to than to have somebody try to explain to you why a guy who doesn't have the Pro Bowl list like Jordan Mailata, I'm trying to explain to you why you think that's fucking glazing Penei Sewell. Because it's not my process. What a bunch of dumbasses. I don't pick the fucking teams. I don't make the system and how they pick them. How stupid can you be? I'm just telling you how they do it. Glazing, that's what they do. I don't pick the team. I didn't write the system. Why doesn't Mailata have any more or any Pro Bowls? Because there's a treasure chest more of left tackles that he has to fight through for him to get that recognition. And he's not going to in this league because there's a lot of people who vote who don't. Do you know that there's people in the league that think that Baltimore has a better O-line than you? I tell those folks they're crazy. I say, no way. Baltimore, but somebody's trying to tell me that Denver has a better O-line than the Eagles. I'm like, not in your life. But that's the kind of shit you have that gets these other guys selected as well. See, so please tell the chat, 3 teams made the playoffs. It wasn't, dude. Here's the thing, Weapon. Anytime you say something that doesn't go along with the journey that the Eagles went on last year, that they had an easier schedule than Detroit did, that's going to be somehow a slap. Even though I could come back and say, do you think, how about this, Weapon, that Tom Brady, how many years, Weapon, do you think Tom Brady had the luxury of playing in a shitty AFC East? Yes or no? Weapon, what did he hit, 19 years? He played in the shitty AFC West or AFC East? You played an easier schedule. Every year Brady was in that AFC, it was a shitty division. You don't think he benefited from that? Bro, nobody's talking about what they did in the fucking playoffs. I'm telling you what they did in the regular season that got Tristan Wirfs the first team All-Pro, and why he went and Penei got it. I mean, it's like talking to 5-year-olds. Going through the playoffs. So fucking what? What does that have to do with the All-Pro team? What in God's name does that have to do with it? Of course it's going to. So they think our O-line being so good all around it hurts our guys individually. That's even better of a take. That is even you're right. Get this, twist. Think about this for a second. You had the best O-line by far last year, and that one guy made first team All-Pro. You find that odd? You had the best defense in football a year ago. You had one guy. Do you know that you had only one player on that Super Bowl championship team? One player make first team All-Pro. On both sides of the ball. Twist, you had the best roster in football. You had the best team in football on both sides of the ball. Twist, I think you made a great point here. You had one first team All-Pro on a team that waxed everybody. And from the bye on, when Hurts started, bro, you didn't lose a game. And you had one first team All-Pro? What does that tell you, Twiz? When you're on a good football team, they're going to overlook the guys that are starting next to each other. And they're going to go, well, they're good anyway. This guy's better. There's no doubt about it. And for the record, Twiz, how about this? For the record, you didn't have a better regular year in the NFC than Detroit. Wait a minute. Leon, do you think you had a better regular season than Detroit a year ago? In a weaker division than the Central Division. And by the way, you had a 14-win team playing a wild card. Just curious. You didn't have a better year than Detroit. You didn't have a better regular season than Detroit. We had a better year, obviously. But you didn't have a better season during the regular year. Detroit did. They won home field. Yeah, but what happened in the – I'm not talking about that. Not only record-wise, home field-wise, too. Record-wise, no, but we accomplished more. Phenomenal. Thanks. Great. I'm not talking about that. I asked you who had a better regular season. We're talking about how guys make the All-Pro team here, not who had a better year in totality. We're talking about how the All-Pro team and the Pro Bowl teams are selected and why Jordan Mailata doesn't have more. Detroit had a better regular year than you. That's what the regular season predicates on how you pick your first team and second team and third team All-Pro teams. That's what the conversation is. It's not about who's the most accomplished season. It's about how the process works. That's where you guys are getting jaded. And this is where you guys get your pennies in a bind. Would you rather be a hobbled 1 seed or a healthy 2 seed? I mean, I'd rather be a home field team, I guess. See, listen, every team in the league sucks, but one, nobody's watching that product because the results are predictable. Anyone in the league is pretty close, his talent and his skill. So votes are close. They are. They totally are close. Okay. All-Pro was best player at the position, period. It's not period. You could have two guys equally talented at one position. Two guys. What voters are going to do is, what kind of impact did he have on his team? How good was his record? They're going to go to that, like they do with Jalen Hurts. Like you guys say, Jalen Hurts didn't have a very good season. But because Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl, who had the better year? Winning games, going to the postseason, all of that shit. That's what you're doing with Hurts. Because if you just go on his statistical numbers, it wasn't a very good season. But you add in all the other things, the winning, what he did in the Super Bowl, not what he did during the regular. You excuse that because of what he did in the postseason. So you're trying to take a metric away on how they picked the Pro Bowl team, but that same metric applies to Hurts. And you don't like it when it affected Lane. It's the same process. I don't know. Sounds to me like many of you in here, when you don't hear what you like and you apply it, you change the room every day. Always. That don't mean he'll be more accomplished. There's two convos, Niner all day. There's two conversations. Allen will always be a better player than Jalen Hurts at the quarterback position because he's more giftedly talented. That don't mean he's going to have more accomplishments than Jalen. Two things can be true. Where you go, where you're lucky to have a great GM and a great owner, that has to start there, building a team, being able to get along and play inside a system that they're developing for you and your team and how they want to win. There's a formula, and every team has a formula on how they win. Again, it's more complex than just saying that guy's the best player and that guy should have more wins than this guy. It's more complex in the NFL than that. You know why? There's more players. It's not so complex in basketball. You got 5 dudes on the floor, right? One guy can make a dramatic change and can make a dramatic impact with 5 guys. What quarterback is not going to make a dramatic change? Joe Burrow is not going to make any difference whatsoever in Cincinnati, no matter how good he plays. It won't matter. It will not matter. Get this. Jim Kelly's a Hall of Fame player. Okay. Kelly's one of the top 20 players in the history of the sport at that position. I don't think that's a rip. You're comparing Josh Allen to Jim Kelly? All right. It's a Hall of Fame football player. Gee, I'm being compared to a Hall of Fame quarterback? No problem. Jim Kelly had an elite offense. Yes, he did. But he faced elite defenses in them Super Bowls. Absolutely. Jim had a great Jim had a great elite defense too. Kelly had it all. And they weren't able to push one of those through across the finish line. This is where I disagree with John. I'm sorry, 4 Super Bowls is not more impressive than somebody winning one. I get where he's coming from. You'll never see, unless Kansas City does it, a team go to 4 Super Bowls, especially in the salary cap. It's more impressive. How about this? It's more impressive what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing than what the Bills did. Because the Chiefs won 2. They're 2-1 in the last 3 years than what the Bills did by going to 4 in a non-salary cap era. It's more impressive because the rosters are changing. Back in the Bills' day, the rosters didn't change. Okay? I mean, facts. You got constant turnover, coaching turnover. And in Kansas City, they've been to 3 straight. I mean, I know it's easy to do this. Sills, what's a better franchise right now? The Chiefs or the Eagles? The Chiefs. Yeah, but the Eagles just beat them. I got it. But going to 3 straight Super Bowls and being 2-1, they've accomplished more. I mean, the Eagles in their franchise have never gone back-to-back. Hell, teams in your city have only gone back-to-back once. The Flyers. Going back-to-back? If that was so easy, wouldn't you have more multiple championships in Philadelphia? Okay. This channel is going to be full of trolls after the first Eagle loss, after going extinct for almost a year. Bro, if you don't think the Eagles are going to lose ball games this year, they're going to lose ball games. But they can't lose the games. You're not going to kill Philly. Well, if it looks shitty and you drop a game to the Cowboys, which I do not believe, then there's a different conversation. You could be 23-21 by Kansas City in Kansas City. I mean, really, are we going to sit here and go like this? Hey, I told you, Justice. Bro, they're too good. You got Patrick Mahomes. You got Mahomes. Okay? It's not about losing. It's about losing the games. The postseason games. Yeah. We're going to definitely lose. I don't think any team will go undefeated ever again. I'm starting to believe that to be very true. That it's almost impossible to go undefeated in today's NFL. Can we check the schedule to see who will beat us, Sills? I think you've got to look at the first 4. Okay? Got a bunch of topics here. Let's see here. By the way, don't forget, Angelo Cataldi will join us. I can't even believe we've already rolled through the first hour here. We appreciate everybody. Please hit the like button. Here. You're not losing that Dallas game. You could lose Kansas City. By the way, I'm going to make these comments here, and I'm not telling you you're going to. I'm just saying you could. You can lose Kansas City. You can lose the Rams. You can lose the Buccaneer game. Even the worst injury, I don't know. Could you lose Denver? I don't think so. Giants, no way. I don't believe you lose in Minnesota, and I don't believe you lose in New York. Green Bay, no way. I'm sorry, folks. Do you know how many people are trying to sell me Green Bay? Do you know how many folks are trying to sell me the Green Bay Packers? I don't believe it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go down this lane. I'll say this to you about the Green Bay Packers. You're going to have to show me more than just circling the 9-7 or the 9-8 or the 10-7 room to try to tell me that you're good. I mean, you're going to have to show me you're more than that, because I'm not buying you anymore. I mean, I really don't see it. I just don't. Detroit, you could lose. Dallas, no way. Chicago, no way. Chargers, I want to see Herbert with Harbaugh another year. Right now, no. The Raiders, no way. You're probably going to split Washington. Up in Buffalo, you're built to go to Buffalo in bad weather, though. That's going to be an interesting ball game, but you could lose that game. Again, I'm not saying you will. There's no way you lose to Cincinnati. You run that Cincinnati defense into the dirt. You're not losing. You're just not. That's preseason, my bad. Buffalo, Washington. You probably split one of them Washington games. So there's teams on the schedule you can lose to. Depending on what the circumstances are in the East, home field advantage, all of that shit plays a factor on who you might lose to. I know there's like 5 teams on that schedule you could lose to. Washington most notably. Now, I didn't say you would. I believe you can lose to them. Now, I think they're taking a step back. Xander thinks Washington's taking a step back. Washington has not lost any coaches and added players, and Detroit's lost players and lost coordinators. That's a team that's going to take a step back. You lost your starting center and your left guard. Be like losing Cam Jurgens. Okay? Be like losing Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson and Vic Fangio. I don't know. You think that would play a factor if you lost Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Vic Fangio? Do you think that would be a factor on the Eagles if you lost those guys? How would that not be a factor then? And you lost the other coordinator. How do you look at them not taking a step back? And you look at Washington, who's added players. They had the shittiest O-line in football next to Cincinnati a year ago. They were 31st. Yeah, well, Tunsil and these guys, they were better than what they had. Yo, Sills, do you think the Niners win the Super Bowl this year? No, but I think they win the West. Because they're playing the 4th worst schedule in football. They're getting everyone back. Everybody's healthy, including McCaffrey. They'll be a better team. And they're playing shitty players or shitty teams. It'll be fool's gold when they get to the playoffs. But we'll see what they do. Remember, they're 2 years also. Hey, get this. You know what's crazy? Is that the Eagles imploded in 23. San Francisco imploded a year ago. And it's like Eagle fans are like, the Niners are done. People could have been saying the same thing about you with your 23 ending and your 24 beginning. But they didn't. So hang in there. Who said the Rams were shitty, Slagger? They're playing shitty teams on their schedule. They're playing the 4th easiest. Get this. This guy Slagger just said that I said the Rams were shitty when I said they're playing the 4th easiest schedule and they're playing shitty teams. Did that include everyone like the Rams? Really? Well, I'll make sure I quantify it more for you because I know you're like a 4-year-old that you have to be explained to. She was the only team to have back-to-back Hall of Fame centers were the Steelers, Dermontti Dawson, and Mike Webster. I would also add that you had – no, they didn't. I thought the Raiders did, but they didn't. They went from Otto to somebody, and I forget. You're right. Mosbar was a couple years after that. You're right. Okay. My degree in football will be superior to yours. If you want me to have a degree in talking about economics or tariffs, you probably beat me. In football, sit down. Broncos are a good football team, man. And that defense is legit. They are. They could have the best unit in all of football. They do, especially at the secondary position. I would also put this out there to you. Don't go to sleep on Houston. Houston's also got they've got a great defense. So I don't think we lose to those guys, but you not agree that we'll be getting these teams best. So it's harder to play us. That it is, Weapon. You're going to get the best out of every single football team. Okay? Absolutely. Yeah, okay, guy. Dude, you're a fanboy. You're not a football guy. You're a fanboy. Plain and simple. M. Reyes, you're a fanboy. Yeah, you're a fanboy. And how to root for the Eagles. You're the ultimate fanboy. I know fanboys when I see them. You're a fanboy. Me? I'll say it the way it is. How you doing? Oh, team. Sam Reyes. Now that, hey, Slagger, I actually like that. I really do. Okay? I actually do. Hey, well, that's not what your old lady says, brother. And I have a working man's PhD. Go get him, Kyle. Now you're like N'Kobe, all smart and shit. How you doing? Oh, holy cow. This guy must have known one of my, holy cow. This guy's like one of my nuns at Catholic High talking shit to me now. Daniel? It was Daniel. Daniel? Hey, Angelo's going to join us in a couple days. Couple minutes. I'm sorry. What's this? Hold on here. The only PhD Sileo cares about is the ones that buys him. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. What am I supposed? Wait. Okay. Sure. All right. You got me. Way to go, PhD fanboy. The PhD fanboy. M. Reyes, how you doing? Look at that guy. Okay. Oh, right. So as I'm circling Patrick Surtain versus. Ooh. Oh, man. Patrick Surtain versus A.J. Brown. Shit. That is going to be a great matchup. Let me take a look at that. That's a good one. Oh, you know what's going to be? Hey, get this. Micah Parsons versus Lane Johnson in week 1. Chris Jones versus who's playing right guard? Tyler Steen? Oh my God. Hold on here. Hey. Tyler Steen versus Chris Jones in week 2. Hold on, let me see here. Lane versus Micah. I'm going Lane. Week 2. Chris Jones versus Tyler Steen or Kenyon Green. I'm going with the guy in KC. Let's see here. Let's go to another one. The Rams. Devontae Adams versus Keely Ringo. Oh, no. Yeah. I got to go with Devontae Adams. Now, I would like to also see versus Lamont versus Jordan Mailata. Oh, man, that's going to be a good one. Versus Mailata. Wow. I'm going to take Mailata. I'll take Mailata. Let's see here. Buccaneers. Hold on. Vita Vea versus Tyler Steen. I mean, okay. Now, wait a minute. AJ versus that secondary. Oh, I got AJ. I got AJ. I'm starting to think now that Wirtz is not in there. I think the Eagles can win that game. Hey, I do. There's that Denver game. AJ versus Surtain. Man, that's going to be a great one. New York's got a good front four. Cam Jerkins got destroyed by Dexter Lawrence. But that's all they got. And it really didn't matter. Now they added Abdul Carter. I just don't see it, though. I'll take anybody on that O-line for the Eagles. Minnesota, Van Kinkel. And then, wait, Justin Jefferson versus Keely Ringo. Okay. Yeah, will Keely Ringo even be starting by then? Wow. Detroit, Abba St. Brown versus Keely Ringo. Oh, wait. Aiden Hutchinson versus Jordan Mailata. Man. All right. Having a little fun here. Guys, I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. We are 10 days out, believe it or not, from the start of training camp for the Philadelphia Eagles. And how about this? 2 days out from the Chargers starting. So we had a conversation the other day with Howard Eskin. And I sent the article over to Angelo. And I got to tell you, man, I was like, and he went knee deep. I'm talking Howard. He went knee deep into WIP. I said, are you proud of what the station looks like? And he goes, well, from 6 a.m. By the way, remember what he said? His kid Spike is part of that whole thing. So he's kind of floating on a razor blade there a little bit, kind of taking shots at his own kid. I said, what do you make of IP? He goes, well, from 6A to 6P, they could put me to sleep. I'm like, hang on here. Wait a minute. I could not wait to get Angelo's take on this. So, truly, now I will give Howard this, and I think Angelo will too. Howard was the first guy to do this. And coming up in a couple weeks would have been his 40th anniversary on going on the air on WIP and started which began the all sports format. WIP began it, folks. FAN did it. And then Angelo came in and changed East Coast Morning Sports Radio. Look, Boomer and Carton were a great show in New York. But I will tell you the three most significant people in East Coast sports talk radio: Francesa, Angelo, and also Howard. If you want to throw Mad Dog in there screaming at everybody, that's okay. If you like that kind of deal, it's good. But those were the guys. Really nobody in Boston. In WEI, I worked at that station. So, I mean, there were a couple guys in the mornings that were Callahan, and those guys were good. I was supposed to take over for those guys. But, they were good. It was a good station. Then they started the hub, and it kind of fractured it. But IP, Angelo is destroying. You know why? He's listening to me now, and I'm going to say it before I get him on. Angelo Cataldi, don't let him bullshit you and tell you, because I forgot a couple names. Who cares? The guy's the most entertaining guy there is. They don't want to pay him the 2.5 anymore. That's what they don't want to do. They don't want to pay him the 2.5. They'd rather pay guys $1.60 and say this: hey, come. It's a great opportunity to come here and work at WIP for $160,000. No, thank you. With all that being said, I can't wait to get him on here now with this. Our friend, you can catch him on his blog now. He's still swinging on his blog, that's for sure. He is our friend, Angelo Cataldi. Legendary Angelo Cataldi from WIP. How you doing, brother?
I'll take the 160. You're offering 160. That's exactly 160,000 more than you give me, Dan. there would be a tremendous raise for me. Who's turning down 160? What the heck's wrong with you?
I know somebody who is.
Look, all I know is Howard has a point. And Howard has a point that sports talk in our city now is not the same as it was when Howard and I were part of that 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Lineup. But the world isn't either. It's an amazing thing. Yeah, I've mentored and I continue to mentor a lot of young people who want to get into the game. And they email me through the book or whatever. I have my email address in my book. So a lot of them, I get them all the time and I take them on. I mean, it's not like I got a lot going on here. If I have some information I can hand off to another generation, I'm thrilled to be able to do it. They pick up, they understand the format. They understand how to broadcast now because they have way, way more experience than I did or that my generation did when sports radio first came out. What they really have a problem with is taking a strong stand. They don't do it anymore. And that's where Howard's making a point about them being more boring. They're not, most of their takes are not at all interesting. Most of their takes are chalk, are what most of the people are saying. If you're really good at this, you have to go beyond what the other guy's saying. And that I've mentored so many people over the 30 plus years I was at WIP and the last couple now. And that's the one thing I can't get them to learn. I even like to say, why don't you acquire an opinion? See, this is sports talk. Go into a bar room and listen to those people offer strong opinions. They want to hear strong opinions. I don't think that's changed. But the people performing now are not seeing it as important as we did.
Do you agree then? Well, that's fear. Do you agree that you and I, okay, you're right. When people were, when Randy Michaels and people like that and guys were trying to teach me and Limbaugh and those guys were trying to teach me the structure of going to breaks and staying on a wheel and, knowing who your audience is. I remember Rush used to tell me to have a picture of my audience in front of me all the time so that I knew who I was talking to, so that I could get an image of what this guy was, who this guy is, and what these guys may like and have a familiarity with them. You're right. That took a longer process for me and you. But what didn't take a longer process for me and you, what today's guys have, in my opinion, is you may know how to go to break. You may know how to forward tease. You may know how to do all those things. But the one thing you don't know is conviction. And conviction to me in radio, if you don't have it, you're lost, because that's what makes you unique. If you're not unique, people always say this, Angelo, Sileo, are you the best? Absolutely not. I'll tell you what I am, though. I'm a show you've not heard before, and that's what sells. And people, for whatever reason today, they just don't understand that. When I listen to WIP, when you were on it, Angelo, and I'm going up and down the Jersey Shore, and I'm listening to you on old 610 up in New York, and I'm listening to it, the next show, it would be a completely different take on a completely the same topic. Then the next show would be different. I'm like, man, that's compelling. Me, I turn on the radio, it sounds like white noise to me.
Yeah, that's very true. Let's go back. You brought up a name of a great genius in talk radio, Rush Limbaugh. Absolute genius, because he had incredibly strong opinions and he delivered them with every element of entertainment you could put into a show. He was brilliant. He was just brilliant. The other big icon of that era was Howard Stern. Same thing. I mean, some of the stuff he said was beyond outrageous, but he said it with a wink, and a lot of humor and a lot of entertainment. Somewhere along the way, and I can't explain to you why, that became less of a priority. But what you said a couple of minutes ago is the essence of it, and that is fear. Nobody wants to rock boats anymore. and maybe I'm not in it anymore, so I can't tell you this, but maybe the people that own these stations now are going to always bow to the teams or the mainstream opinion and are not going to allow the guy that they hire and pay a lot of money, normally more than 160 grand, to come out and give his friggin' opinion, and then go nuts if you need to, and get people, and they call in and say, you're nuts, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. And then you get into a nice tussle. That's all entertainment to me. I don't think the world changed so much in the last 10 years, 20 years, that people still don't find that entertaining.
No,
but the priority is gone now. There is no priority now to have that. And that's why I don't listen to much of it anymore, Dan, because it's not that exciting to me.
How about this? This is what Randy Michaels and the folks at iHeart and Clear Channel did for me. So I was doing a show in Tampa, and I was on for 15 years there, Angelo. And I'm doing the show, and I'm taking 30, 40, 50 calls, whatever. I remember going down, they go, you need to go down there. So he used to have his show come out of West Palm. And Mr. Snerdley was there and all this. And so I went down, they put me down there for a couple days, like 4 or 5 days, whatever. So Limbaugh goes like this to me. He goes, pick up the Miami Herald. Read it to me. So I read him the Miami Herald. He goes, now listen to me read it. I went, Jesus criminy. He goes, and by the way, all those phone calls you take, you got to, like what you did was you picked and choose them and you used them as content. And I learned that from him. He goes, you can't take all of them. What you do is you pick and choose content to help further the show being more entertaining. And I sat there and I thought I knew everything about radio. And I just went, oh my God. He goes, so you were a traffic cop? Use those callers to help accentuate the show's entertainment factor. Don't use it just to be a traffic cop. And I sat there, I thought I knew everything about radio, and I came back and I changed my whole entire approach to radio after that.
I didn't have Limbaugh to learn from, so it probably took me 15 years to realize that you had to. I always looked at it like I was making a big Italian wedding soup, right? And I had the escarole, and I had the little meatballs, and I had the pastine, right, all that stuff. And then what you did is each one of those ingredients was a topic. And then what you needed to do is get that big stirrer and keep stirring it. And so that what you had was a lot of stuff in the air at once. You're juggling it all and you're stirring it. You're making it more exciting. You understand? Exciting. When you're doing a show, if you really figure it out, and again, it took me decades, all right? You got to hear the show you're doing while you're doing it. And you got to say to yourself, this is friggin' boring. And here's another one. They're tired of hearing me talk. I'm going to shut up for a segment and let other people talk. That's another thing they don't seem to pick up anymore, Dan. And if you can't hear your own show, it's not going to be that good, because you got to change it all the time. When things are slow, you got to step it up. When things are hot, you got to cool it down. You're driving this car. You're stirring this pot.
I got to show you. So Angelo, my wife produced my show for 20 years. She produced my show. So I'm in the middle of a segment, or I'm in the middle of a take. My wife would text me, boring. And I'm like, and I'm looking at my phone, and it would just say boring.
Yeah.
And I would just go like this. So I put and the producer I had in there, because my wife, one of the greatest show bookers of all time, and she would just text me, this is boring. Get off it, end it. And so having people like that around you also in the building is so important on a show's success, because sometimes what you just said, Angelo, we can't hear it. We don't know where it's landing. But when you have somebody like you had for a producer that knew where it was landing, that was also what made you successful.
You read my mind. It was Joe Wechter. Now how you said you'd pick from the list of the callers?
Yes.
Joe prioritized them for me. Joe knew when he needed to get to another topic or he had somebody on that was going to really get things kicked off, and he would put them at the top, and I would hit it automatic. I didn't normally have to pick through it because Joe already knew where it was going and how it was going there. And if you have a great producer like we did, that makes your job way easier. But it's hard. You know, the thing is, I don't know how much effect the podcasts have had on this, because there are podcasts now that do that do what I did, what Rush did, what all of the guys did a generation ago. And it seems like they filled that breach. It's like the strong opinions in sports now, you'll usually find on social media or comments at the end of a story. You won't hear them as much on mainstream terrestrial radio, or maybe even these satellite radio right now. All I could tell you is it changed, and I think Howard's right that it didn't change for the better.
No,
it did. One thing, Howard, you can say what you want about Howard, right? And his big mistake was he became too kind to the Eagles, way too kind. All right. But Howard knew entertainment. He knew how to stir trouble up and get things going and have action. And it doesn't seem to be a priority the same way. A lot of people just giving you usual common takes, which are boring.
Let me ask you this, Angelo. I'll ask you the same question I asked Howard. What do you make, and are you proud of what's going on at WIP right now? I mean, do you like the station? I listen to the station, and I do, and I listen to it, and I'm like, man, it's so freaking different. And maybe I'm older, and I was at the generation after you. I stand on your shoulders, and some other folks that I looked up to when I wanted to get into the business, and I don't know. Somewhere in consolidation, where we decided to consolidate, we forgot to nurture young talent, weekend talent that turned out to be the weekday talent, that turned out to be the star talent in mornings or afternoons or what have you. I mean, I don't hear that on that station. And he wasn't, and his son's there. And he says there's a lot of shows on that station now that are boring.
That could make for a really awkward Thanksgiving. Howard and his son Spike, they've had that dynamic for many, many years. I'm going to be honest. I kind of already said to you, I don't listen enough. I can tell you this. I worked with Hugh Douglas. Hugh Douglas is terrific. All right. I can tell you that right now. Hugh Douglas is an athlete who understands the games he's talking about and adds an element of fun to it. Ike Reese, same thing. All right. So you got those two things. And on our morning show, Rhea Hughes. You got to use her more, guys. I've made that clear to everyone who ever wanted to hear me. The woman is fantastic and should be taking a back seat to no one. And she didn't on our show. When Rhea needed to say something, Rhea said it. Bring it in, Rhea. I would give this gesture. Come on, let's hear it. And then she would say, "You're an idiot. You
think she's taking a back seat on that current show now?"
Not enough. I guess now she's emerged more in the past few months, and I'm happy to hear that they are using her more. She is a brilliant opinion maker. And Dan, here's the other thing you need to know if you're going to be in sports talk radio. You need to know what the fans care about. Yeah. You got to pick the right topics. And the last 3 years, when I was already in my dotage, I was practically in a wheelchair, right? The last 3 years, Rhea was doing most of that. Rhea was saying to me, "You can't lead with that. Lead with this." Yes, Rhea. She knows exactly what connects with the audience. And that's a hard thing to learn too. But overall, I would just say this. It's a different generation with a different priority than it is now. And I guess a lot more difficulty getting advertising because there are so many podcasts and so many other things out there that are basically saturating the market for advertising. So it's a harder game now.
Before I move on to a couple legal questions for you, I want to ask you this, though. How hard would it be for you to do a show today when the Eagles are up WIP's management's ass every day on stuff that was being said. I mean, for you,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Okay, now you're rolling your eyes. I know where you're going. Ain't no problem for me. I got it. But do you think for the current guys, I should say,
Right.
that it's a problem
People
on
did
how
it.
you can be open and honest about covering a team?
This is not a hypothetical because I dealt with it. I dealt with it 25 years ago when Jeff Lurie tried to get CBS and WIP to silence me, to get me off the air, to get me out of there because I was not saying what he wanted to hear. He never appeared on our show after the first year because he didn't like what he was hearing. You know what he was hearing? Criticism. He's a billionaire. Billionaires don't like to hear criticism. Why do you think they surround themselves with people that tell them how great they are? Because they have that ability to insulate themselves. Only it was sneaking through. Even if he wasn't listening, somebody was going to him. See what that jackass in the morning on WIP said about you? How do you let that happen? They're the flagship station for your team. Stop them. And I could just tell you now that the minute a company came to me, they tried it a couple of times, and I just said, fire me. But it was far enough along, Dan, to where if they did fire me, there would be financial repercussions on that side. They would lose advertising. I had a lot of advertisers. A lot of people were advertising because our show is doing well, and I was getting a lot of credit for that.
That's why you and Rush were able to go over the edge a little because you knew this. Because Rush said the same thing to me. He goes, well, when I can say criticism about Obama and use kind of crazy comments about Obama, they're not going to go with a guy who's making $600 million for your company because of the advertising he has. When somebody's making $2-3 million in advertising like you are for WIP, I mean, you go like this, fine, fire me. That's not that easy of a corporate decision to do.
But I always did that. It wouldn't have mattered if somebody hired me to do that job, and that part of that job was give your strong opinion. And then they suddenly told me what my opinion was or soften my opinion, I would say no. I would just say no. You know what? Because you have to have enough faith in yourself to know that hack, that empty suit that is telling you what to say or do is not doing it. It's not going to connect with your audience. So you are committing professional suicide if you listen to them. So Dan, and it's in the book. I'm not trying to sell my book. My book is almost 3 years out now. But I just told him to go to hell. I got in clause in my contract that my boss couldn't talk to me. You can't, even Rush didn't get that.
Yeah,
now
no
here's
way.
Rush. Rush is up here and I'm down here in the radio world. But let me tell you, there's only one guy who ever got in his contract. The boss can't talk to me if I don't want to talk to him. I'm the only one. And that is how I want to be remembered. As such an asshole that I put it in the contract.
Oh my God, one of the greatest clauses I've ever heard.
It is.
Give me a bit of advice then on this. So in Philadelphia, NBC Sports, Philadelphia's talent cannot come on my show. I've got even people on my own network that pause because of criticism that I give certain people that it would make them look bad. There's people on Fanatic. There's people all over. Carton told me that Fox has been contacted by the Eagles not to put some of their talent on my program. What advice would you give to your young protege here, Dan Sileo, when you hear that the Eagles have circled the wagons here, making sure that a lot of those guys don't want to come on my program?
When you say talent, do you mean players? Are you referring specifically to players?
Players or management?
Let me start with players. Players usually suck. All right? You're losing nothing when you put a player on the air, unless maybe there's 2 or 3 on each team. The rest of them are boring as hell. They're coming on for 10 minutes to try to say nothing. No, you don't need them. And management, again, somehow, I don't know how I did it.
I don't either.
I managed to stay in my job for 30 years without ever talking to the owner of the Eagles. He came on one time and never again. All right. And then if you listen to him, would anyone in their car in a traffic jam want to hear that pomposity for 40 or 50 freaking minutes, telling everybody how great he is? Congratulations. Well, I put together quite an organization. I said years ago I would make the Niners my model. And now I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of the model. Okay. I don't need it. You don't need it. My boss, who by the way, destroyed my book, Tom Bigby, didn't want us to ever put any guests on. He said, just talk to the fans and talk among yourselves. You don't need these guys. And a lot of it was true. None of those people are going to determine the success or failure of your show. There's only one person that's going to do that, and that's you. It's the choices you make, the way you express them, how well you perform, and how well you entertain. That's going to none of this other stuff matters. That's why I want to bring up Rush and Stern, because they got it. They knew. And all of us tried to copy them as much as we could. But in Rush's case, not with the politics. I don't need that crap.
I got you there. Let me sneak in a couple ego questions for me. Please tell me why Jalen Hurts doesn't get the respect that even after winning the Super Bowl. I mean, you got guys. I mean, listen, lists are like opinions. Everyone's got a rear end and everyone's got an opinion on something here. But it just doesn't seem. When do you believe Jalen Hurts will get his just dues? When he's retired? Will he ever get it? When he's now?
Dan, he's getting it now from the people that matter the most, the fans. The fans really love him. All right. Not the way you would a guy who was, soft and cuddly, because he's not that. He's not super fan friendly with flamboyant remarks and things of that nature. But in the game, when they're watching that man play, they are loving him. All right. The media in the city, it's not an issue, I don't think. Nationally, it's more of an issue. And it's more of an issue. I don't even have a good reason. Dan, I can't. Maybe it's a bias against Philadelphia because they hate to see the Eagles winning championships now. Maybe it's the fact that he's not good for their business because he doesn't say crazy. He's not like Aaron Rodgers, who's always got some crazy thing going on that's stirring up trouble, or all the
Mahomes, or he's not.
Or even
Mahomes.
Right, Mahomes got his wife, right? Taylor Swift up there chugging and all that stuff. There's none of that with Hurts. It's no nonsense winning football, and the fans know how valuable that is. The media, the national media, you know what? The more I paid attention to the national media, the more I realized that none of them, not one of them, Dan, was actually giving you an unfettered opinion that wasn't totally altered by their perception of what they were doing with their audience. If they thought people didn't like Hurts, they might take the side that they did. This Chris Sims, all right? He's the worst of them, all right? He is a hack, all right? I'll say he's a freaking hack. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is he's just looking for attention, right? His father didn't need that because his father could play football.
That was great.
He sucked at football and now sucks at media. Maybe he should try a third career. Maybe that would work out better for him.
I'm going to ask you the last one here, Angelo. And last year, you and me, man, I don't know, we were kind of like with the opinions on the Eagles, man. 5 wins. I said 9 wins, 7 wins.
Yep.
I'm saying they're not repeating. What are you saying?
You are saying that?
Yeah, they're not repeating. No way.
They still got Nick Sirianni, right?
That's one of the reasons why I'm saying they're not. Yes.
Yeah, they're look, again, why am I done? Yeah, they're not repeating. They're not repeating for one reason above all the others. Kevin Patullo. I'm not even waiting for training camp to look at my target. And it is the Bobo that Nick Sirianni put in as his offensive coordinator. All right. Because all Kevin Patullo represents is that Nick Sirianni is going to be more involved in the offense than he was last season. And that is a recipe for disaster. All right. He is his self-appointed Bobo. And I'm telling you right now, and I couldn't pick Kevin Patullo out of a police lineup. And I could tell you right now, the 2 times that Nick Sirianni had people brought in as his coordinators, he did great, made it to the Super Bowl. The 2 times he put his own people in, they sucked. I'm going to consider that trend continues. But I am not prepared, and may never be prepared, to give you a number this year, because I will never live down last year's number.
I'm with you. Angelo, what do we have on the blog, man? What's going down?
I just want to say one other thing. I got to just get this off my chest because it's driving me to distraction.
It's got to be Rob Thompson.
This tops, it goes right back into our original conversation about the softening of sports talk in Philadelphia. If I were on today, I would be crucified for being on an all-out assault at Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson is a horrible manager. He is impossibly awful at his job. And no one, when I say no one, I mean no one.
He's terrible.
Will come out and say it, except the dozens of emails every day I get from people that are driven to distraction about his stupid decisions. His management of the bullpen, his use of people off the bench, his lineups. He's so bad. And here's the thing, and I took pride in this. We helped to get people fired in my time there. We did. Now, a lot of people go, I don't want anybody to lose their job. Good, I do. All right, I want them to lose their job if they suck. If they're driving me nuts every night, I would like to see them in a chaise lounge in their backyard smoking a stogie. All right. But the fact of the matter is, Dan, that guy has benefited more than anyone in the softening of sports talk in Philadelphia. There should be an all-out blitz on him. And I would do it to the point where I'd be called in and said, you got any other topics?
Hey, Angelo, I said this at the beginning. I remember they got out to that strong start. I said this about Rob Thompson. Right after the All-Star break, people will be screaming to fire this guy. No way. They got out. They got a good-looking baseball team. I'm like, by the 4th of July, you will be screaming for this guy because he is not a good manager. He is just not. I mean, and
he's bad.
You got to start looking at Dave Dombrowski going, dude, that bullpen will be, once again. Now, do you agree with me on this? The lineup of the Phillies is this. Here's your baseball team. And I talked to Gary Sheffield the other day about this. How are you putting a guy who's got a 216 lifetime batting average in the top of your lineup where he takes 250 walks of shame every single year, and he's going to hit you 46 home runs, and he's going to give you 250 strikeouts, and you've got him hitting in the top of your lineup? Nobody does that. Have you ever heard moving a runner over? Have you ever heard?
Oh, they don't do that anymore. Oh, this team doesn't do it ever. No, they don't. None of that is. Do you understand? These decisions are being made by a group. Just picture like a nerd convention. Like I went to the American Library Association convention 2 weeks ago, and it was a lot of people with thick glasses and pocket protectors, right? And I went, wow, these must be some of the people from the Phillies analytics department, because these guys are making these stupid decisions, and Thompson's going along with them. And Thompson, all I could say is Thompson, he's the worst I've ever seen at that job. He's the worst of any coach or manager in the 40-plus years I've been in Philadelphia. And Marcus Hayes last week.
Manager in Philly in your lifetime.
The worst. He's freaking awful. Listen to a news coverage. You're going to want to kill yourself. It's torture. Oh, good. I'll get some answers on why you did that. Well, I got his pitch count was up there. Yeah. He's got all this garbage. It's use your friggin' eyes. Use your gut. You've been in baseball your whole damn life. And Marcus says, I just got to get this in because I love the guy. He's the most opinionated columnist left in our city. He actually wrote a column the other day that the MVP of the first half of the Phillies season is Rob Thompson. Now, I saved the article in case inadvertently I swallow poison and need to regurgitate, because that will make me puke every time I see it. Do you understand? And I don't know. Marcus is too smart to really believe that. I'm sorry.
So wait a minute. You think we have to give him a DNA test to see if that's really him? Because that can't be him.
He used to work at WIP, and I would, when he was coming into the studio, I'd hand him a cup and say, "Please give me a sample. We want to get you tested."
How in God's name are you not on the air and like talking radio? And that this has been iconic. I mean, Angelo, you just deliver every single time here, and now you're telling me we need to test Marcus Hayes. You know what? I'm going to get Marcus on now, and
get him on. And say to him, listen, before we start, would you pee in a cup for me? Because you cannot be sober and say that Rob Thompson is the MVP of the first half. No, you can't say that. You can't say that.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one last time here, this last question. By week what will Nick Sirianni and the Eagles take away the play calling duties from his boo-boo?
His Bobo. Get it right.
Bobo.
Bobo is what he does when he calls a play.
I'm from his Bobo.
From his Bobo. There will be speculation by the fourth or fifth game. There'll be speculation by the fourth or fifth game where they go, well, those play calling was awful. Well, how bad was that play call? Now, this time, Hurts has been around a while now. He'll know enough to check off on some bad calls. But there'll be too many if Sirianni has his fingerprints on it. Sirianni he's won a championship. He has not won me over, not at all. Right? And I don't think he ever will, to be honest with you.
He definitely will not. Make sure you please, everyone, check out Angelo Cataldi at angelocataldi.com, man. Make sure you guys go to the blog here. Angelo, again, I mean, I don't know what happened, man, but you had a whole bunch here today, man.
Okay, but if it was that good, could I start getting that 160,000 now?
Yeah, I'll call
Dan, you're the best, man. Thank you, buddy.
You got it, Angelo. Thank you, my friend. That is Angelo Cataldi. His Bobo. Kevin Patullo. Bobo Patullo. Hold on. Is that Bobo Patullo? I like it. Bobo Patullo. Oh, my God. By week 4, Bobo Patullo. Oh, my God. That's too good, man. Holy dog. I can't get over that. I told you that'd be entertaining. By the way, that's what sports talk radio used to be like right there. Well, you're surely still part of that. Hey, so what do you guys think? You think Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the history of the National Football League? So what do you think? Nicky Sirianni's on his way to the Hall of Fame? I just not cut that way. Oh, man. You know, get all funny and stuff, man. These guys today, man. Holy, but on to me. It's kind of like unbecoming, right? Holy man, oh man, man. Bobo Patullo. Yeah, that's a new name here. Bobo Patullo. Bobo Patullo will be changed out by week 4. That's after the Buck game. Hit the like button here, folks. Bobo Patullo. As the passing game coordinator, Kevin Patullo has met to have Jalen throw for 4K and 30 TDs. Jalen's going to go 28K and 19 TDs, says Drew with Bobo Patullo. Yeah. Here's Senorita. I'm sure Senorita Sills squirmed like that when he saw Nikki and Hertz holding up the Lombardi trophy. That's not true. Congratulations to the fellas. The two cabooses. Hey, I had no problem with the two cabooses. Hey, I like that one too. The two cabooses. I like that. The cabooses. I got a better with Geppetto and Pinocchio. Hey, look at this. Patullo, Bill Belichick, of course he is. Don't know what that is. Bobo Patullo. Oh my God. Fucking Bobo Patullo. He'll be canned by week 4. And there's old Nick taking over the play calling duties. Sills and Angie, the two cabooses of Sports Talk Radio. Yeah, I know. Yeah. The two cabooses. By the way, here's a nice Jalen Hurts stat for you. In 2024, Jalen Hurts is the 8th highest paid quarterback in pro football. He had 0 3 TD passing games for the entire year. The 8th highest paid QB. The 8th highest paid caboose. Not one game did he have with 3 TD passes in it. The entire 2024. That's value. Go get him. How you doing? Right? What's my point? He's a fucking caboose. That's my point. Don't you listen, Junior? Stats matter again? No. Saquon Barkley's rushing matters. Okay? He's a caboose. Take the stats away. Don't have to throw a lot when your team is dominating the other team by running the ball. I know. I got it. Caboose. Get this. You're right. No 3D passing game at all last year in any game. You're right. Caboose. Then why are you here? You sound like the guy over at Crossing and Cross-Dressing Broad. Thank you. How many rushing TDs? Nobody said he wasn't a good running back. Nobody said that. Sills wants Hurts to throw. No. I want him to be a quarterback. Actually, he is. He's just not a talented quarterback. He's a talented player. I'll take that back. He is. Okay? Does it matter what's the score say? No. It's why he doesn't get his respect. Why do you think Hurts doesn't get his national respect? He's won the MVP award. Why do you think? Let me guess. If they hate Philly. Quarterbacks that throw a lot have to throw a lot because their teams are down. No, they have to throw a lot because their teams are bad. That's why. Get it right. Drew, Sills, you gotta prorate the contract into how he passes and how much he runs and pushes. Maybe. Can you imagine Travis? Oh, Travis Hunter's going to have a great year. I'm with you. They hate it when they ain't got it. Guy, English. Try to help us out here. All you do is sit around and post shit every day. Here, now you can write my hand on your hand. Go sit in the corner and think about me. You and Kevin Kincaid. Is that his name? You can sit in the corner and write about me. I like guys who write about me. Thank you. Yeah, keep writing about me. I don't know who you are, but all right. No respect because of media gossip girls like Danny and Angie. That's actually funny. Senorita, even in your bullshit, that's funny, actually. Thank you very much, Real, for the super. Let me read this now. Sills, we had an important debate on the morning show. Would you give your left nut to be a caboose on a Super Bowl team? Yes. I know I would. I would too. You could still do a lot of damage with the right nut. Take of the day. I'm going to give my left nut to be a caboose and still do some damage with the right nut. Yeah. That's big Sills. I'm in. Thanks, Seal. I actually like that. I would never give one of my nuts. My nuts are wrong. I know a guy who gave a finger. Ronnie Lott, get this. You want to know how stupid and psycho NFL players are? So Ronnie Lott had his finger destroyed in the NFC title game. And you know what he did? He went like this, take it off. They cut his finger off in the locker room and he went back out and played. Ronnie Lott cut his finger off in the NFC Championship game. He said because it was smashed and attendance, he goes, take it off. So half of his finger they took off in the locker room. They cut it off. He went back out and played in the Super Bowl with a hand cast with half a finger that they cut off in the locker room. That's a true story. He cut half his finger off. He said, cut it off. Have you ever seen a picture of Ronnie Lott's hand? That's called commitment. Had your finger cut off in the locker room of an NFC title game versus the Bears. He said, cut the fucker off. Hey, listen. Tape it up. Okay? Xander's going to give a finger. He's not going to give a nut. I got it. Hey, I saw this. I saw my kid play. I saw my kid play. She got her fingers broken. She goes, just like, you want to know how you can always tell when you're so proud of your kid? She breaks her finger. She goes, tape it up. She was smarter than me. She's always smarter than me. She's 10 times smarter than me. Of course, I taped my finger to the wrong fucking finger, and my hand looks like a web foot. And she taped it to the right one. And, but she goes, tape it up. Right. Not missing games over a broken finger. What are you, psycho? I'm not missing shit. Tape it up. Tape it up. You want to know why? It's funny. My daughter, she's beautiful. She goes in the bar. She has a good time and all. All of a sudden, when they see her, and there she is with her hand all taped up. Hey, how you doing? I don't know, man. Do I walk up to her? She might hit me in the head with it. Very intimidating. My wife, of course, when we were just talking about sports talk, and I had an update guy. Of course, we got intimidating people in my family because my wife, of course, didn't help me out as my producer. We're sitting there, and this guy kept being a jackass to me, and he kept doing stupid shit on the air, and so. My wife goes, I'm telling you, that's not going to, he goes like, and sure enough, I tell the guy to fucking go home. And all of a sudden, when we get in my boss's office, the bosses talk to her. Yes, well, Danny can be very intimidating. Hey, thanks for helping me out. Thanks for helping me out. Well, I told him, I said, I know, but you told me I could be very intimidating. That's my kid. She goes into a bar. She intimidates everybody. Beautiful, beautiful, smart as hell. Smarter than anything I'll ever be. I put a bag on the stove the other day and almost blew the house up. I wanted to get a propane tank. My wife went like this. You get a propane tank, we're leaving you. I was like, okay, not good. Okay, yeah, I'm not allowed. By the way, I'm not allowed to have fire. I'm just not allowed. I can't have fire. Because I've almost killed us, or me, I've almost killed a couple times. Okay. I would give a finger out of them. Yeah, maybe if some of you had nuts. Bobo Patullo. I like Bobo Patullo. So he says by week 4, Bobo Patullo will be replaced. Not all your takes make sense. Really. Not all your fanning and loving for the Eagles makes sense. Every single guy's going to have an epic year this year. Every one of them. Every guy. Every one of them. Even Tanner McKee. They're going to have iconic years. Who's going to have a follow-up? Absolutely. First team All-Pro. You didn't have any first team All-Pros in offense a year ago. Everyone's first team All-Pro. Hold on here for a minute. You only had one first team All-Pro on a Super Bowl team. You had one player. What happened? Well, we were a bet. No shit. No shit. Okay? Not all your takes make sense. What? Yeah. Thanks for the super. No, what? Get out. This sounds like you said last year. Hey, get this. Last year was an iconic year for you guys. You're not doing it again. You're right. Hey, Todd. Okay? There's not a chance they're repeating. Still around. Good to see you, buddy. I don't want you to go anywhere, honey. It's okay, sweetheart. You can sit here and talk shit all day. No problem. I love it, actually. It's okay, sweet baby. We already established the media hate. Of course we have. Absolutely, it's a long shot. You think it's a clear... People in Philly think it's a clear shot. It's not. Now, they're in the room. They're clearly in the room. Little too sassy. Sorry, sweetie. I'll do better to make you feel better so your skirt doesn't ride up on you. You have to be a chick. You can't be a man. There's not a chance you're a man. There's just no chance. Eagles own the room. Really? Thank you. Good night. What an epiphany. Okay? What an epiphany. Holy cow. Yeah, and you sit when you take a piss. Oh, man. Oh, man. Angelo got me fired up, man. Bobo Patullo. I can't get over that. Angelo was outstanding. He just was. He was outstanding today, man. Okay? Didn't you and Angelo say dude, last year, old news. Try something new, kid. Still smiles in the mirror after brushing his teeth. Yes. Still smiles in the mirror when he brushes his teeth. Whoa. Holy Jesus criminy, man. You need to stop talking, dude. Hey. Hey, man, we're boys and all, but I don't know, man. You need to stop. Still smiles in the mirror. after he brushes his teeth. With what? Whiskey? Oh, man. You know what, Devin? Nobody owns me but my kid and my wife. The rest of you are on rent. You're a rent. You're a rental. Always remember that. There's only two people that can talk, three, my aunt. There's only three people that can talk shit to me. Two I live with, one's in Connecticut. The rest of you, you're on rent. Yeah, you're on lease. Thank you. Still changes his. It takes. Some of you need to fire your publicist. Still, any chance to do a members only stream so you can go over film and maybe a new thing to think about? How much money you paying me? Yeah. Okay. I actually like that idea, though. That's pretty good. It is. I like that. Philly doesn't survive playing 14 playoff teams total to win back-to-back. The schedule's going to play a factor. There he is. Okay. I know. Is everything okay? Yeah, why? Yeah. So, hey, dude, swear to you, you hold your left nut when you talk. Hey, Dan. How are you? Yeah, why? Hi, Dan. You know that guy. You walk away immediately. Even Emrath doesn't grab his nuts when he talks to you. I mean, at least I know that he's not going to grab his nuts. But this guy here, hi, Dan. Don't talk to me grabbing your nuts. Why don't watch baseball? They scratch your nuts too much at home plate. It's not good. Wait a minute. What's that? Oh, man. That was weak. I'll tell you what, Bobo Petula wasn't. I like the Bobo Petula stuff. Bobo Petula, week 4. Oh, wait, I got something great. Hey, by the way, Xander, did I miss any supers? I thought we had some super chats that were going on during the interview with Angelo. Wait, we'll do that with you, bro. Yeah, Xander, we'll do these with you. We'll do these with you at the bottom. Kyle, we'll do all those with Big Z there in a couple minutes. Hold on for a second. I wrote something down here. Okay. So how many? Okay. Let's see here. Funny how we're stands because we just watched our team win the Super Bowl and we think we're going to go back to it again. I think you should. Sills loves watching. Yeah, that's what I do. And by the way, I appreciate all you guys. So I got a question for you, dudes. Who do you think had a better football season a year ago? Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff? Who had a better season? And what, as an individual player, who had a better year? Okay. How did Jalen Hurts have a better individual season than Jared Goff? In what way? In what way? Passing yards 4,629 to 2,903. TDs 37 to 18. Quarterback completion percentage 72.4 to 68.7. Quarterback rating 68 to 65. As an individual player, where in the world did Jalen Hurts outplay Jared Goff? That's a team accomplishment. That's not an individual accomplishment. Where did he play better? Rushing the ball. Okay? Absolutely. And that had a massive factor. That had a massive factor in the team winning. And winning was his legs. Using his legs. Yes. Not his arm, but using his legs. And Jared Goff dealt with a shitload of injuries. Okay? He also threw for 8 touchdowns in one game. No. Once again, I'm talking about individually who had a better year. Those are team accomplishments. That, again, he played great in that one game. Yeah, I agree. Actually, I thought he played pretty good in that NFC title game, too. So he didn't have a better season than him. He had a better game than him, the most important game. But he didn't have a better year than him. He didn't outplay Jared Goff last year. So how could you say he's a better player? Because of the team wins? Well, the defense had a lot to do with that too. How do you quantify that? Again, I guess the better question is, how do you quantify that? This guy played better, had a better year than Jalen Hurts. And you're telling me Jalen had a better year because the team won the Super Bowl. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. Seriously, I'm asking a question here. No. I asked you who had a better regular season, and actually, it's not what I asked you. I asked you who had a better season individually, Jared Goff or Jalen Hurts. All you could throw me at is team accomplishments. Can't throw me out any individual thing, except, again, the Super Bowl performance was great. No doubt. He had a better year than him. That's like saying Jalen had a better year than Allen. He didn't. Was great in that one game. Absolutely. Not third of the season. He didn't outplay him. He didn't. How can you say that Hurts had a better season? John McMullen even says Hurts didn't have a really good year. The Eagles even say that when it came to the passing game. Only you're the ones. See, once again, I think you can have different conversations about Jalen. And this is why, again, it's tough to quantify him. Okay, it really is. Okay? Right? Of course. Ultimate team goal is to win a Super Bowl. Absolutely. So Jared Goff got paid $53 million annually, and he didn't win a Super Bowl. He got a pay raise. Right? What? How in the world, once again, John said it perfectly the other day. Don't get upset because there's other players in the league that are better. Hurts is the perfect quarterback in that system. Could other guys go into that system? Very unlikely. Very unlikely. And I'm talking the top guys. And he's a system quarterback, just like every other quarterback is. Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. That's not a bad comment. Follow me here, though. Do you think that they're making a formula for Lamar Jackson to be a system that there's 32 different systems in the NFL. 32 different systems. Not everyone's the same. Jalen Hurts couldn't go into Cincinnati and play that offense. You know why? It's a high volume passing offense. Just like Joe Burrow couldn't come into Philly and run that offense because there's high volume of rushing attempts that the quarterback has to be a factor with. Burrow, the talent, they would have to change that entire offense for Joe Burrow and Philly. By the way, one of the things that would hurt Joe Burrow, that old line gives up a shitload of sacks. You ever think of that? So are the sacks on the offensive line or Jalen? Joe Burrow couldn't play with that Philly O-line because they give up a shitload of sacks. Now, are the sacks on Jalen? Or are the sacks on the O-line? Who are you blaming? Who are you blaming the sacks on? The O-line or Jalen? Again, anybody. Are you blaming the sacks on Jalen or the O-line? 80% of the time? So you're not blaming the O-line at all for giving up 46 sacks in the playoffs and the regular season a year ago. Those were all on Hurts. I don't believe that. Okay? Now, I do believe the quarterback holds on to the ball when he's in the pocket too long. And he doesn't throw across the middle of the field, and that's why those sacks come. I mean, I blame both. I blame half on the O-line and half on him. No? You blame the quarterback whose number one responsibility is to set pass protection. You blame the quarterback 80%, and you're telling me he's an elite guy. When the quarterback, you're saying, gives up 80% of the sacks that he takes. And you're suggesting that I fucking say that that's elite? That's what you're saying? I'm confused. Right? By the way, tomorrow we're going to get a great explanation from Jason Cole on this collusion thing going on in the NFL Players Association, where I'm a member of. And we told you this story the other day when we first had Jason explain it, that Lloyd Holland, these guys, they're scumbags. They're absolutely the worst union in all of professional sports. They are undermining, they are scumbags, and they are not a very good organization. And you've got people in cahoots. Man, Gene Upshaw must be rolling over in his grave. Okay? We did. We've been telling you about it before even Florio even posted about it. and how the collusion that was been going on, and half of this is aimed at the Eagles because the Eagles were giving signing bonus money, and then the league came in because they didn't like, and you know what the Eagles did? The Eagles told the NFL Players Association and the rest of the owners to go fuck themselves because we are giving signing bonuses and we are putting voidable years on it. And you know what the head of the union did? The head of the union held the collusion findings against the players. He didn't give you the conclusion of that, the fact that the Players Association had a case. And he's a consultant. And the union, I should say, the league's going to be great with it. When you got a puppet sitting on your lap that works in cahoots and he's getting paid by the owners as the consultant, you think he's got the players' best interests? He's double dipping. He makes $8 million a year, that dude. The guy makes $8 million a year. What a scumbag. Hiding the findings. I wish nothing but horrific things, and I pray I'm like, hey, how about Angelo wishing people to lose for? I do. Oh, my God. All right. They had a great conversation this morning on Jordan Mailata, and I want to hit a little bit up on that as well. Guys, I appreciate you being here. Please hit that like button. Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in America for a reason. Why? They win. They are the #1 injury law firm for a reason. Every single time they pick a case up, they are there for you and your family, no matter if you've been hurt in an Uber, your homeowner's insurance has been canceled, and you had catastrophic damage to your home, like you had in Los Angeles or what you had with the storms in North Carolina, what you're seeing right now in Texas. Folks, if you're ever injured, there's no company and there's no insurance company that wants to see Morgan & Morgan coming because they're the #1 injury law firm in all of America. And they're here and proud sponsor of our show. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FORthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529, and do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Bobo Patullo. Bobo Patullo. Week 4. Angelo, we did our best to get people fired. Man. Epic segment. Epic segment with him, man. Hit the like button, guys. Yeah, Bobo Patullo. I dig it. I really do. I like it. Holy cow. I mean, hey, that was that I mean, what can you ask for? Hey, real quick before we bring Big Z in here. So you hear LeBron's new one? Here's LeBron James's new one. You know why we didn't win 6 NBA championships? Because of shows like this and First Take and social media. MJ didn't have to deal with the scrutiny and the criticism that LeBron had to. This is Maverick Carter and LeBron's folks at Rock Nation. Oh my God. You sound like that dickhead over at Crossing Broad. Here, let me do that again. The guy at Crossing Broad, the 2 dinosaurs. Then why are you writing about me? Yeah, okay. Right in the front headline. I didn't know I had this magical power over people. I got this like voodoo kind of woo. You know, woo. Like voodoo or something. Ooh. Here comes Big Bad Sills. Ooh. Yeah. Hey, Xander asked a really fucked up question. He did, man. You know the embargoed interviews that you get for like the coaches? Yeah. Well, isn't that kind of contradicting of what a beat reporter? I was like, oh my God. I give him the stones for doing that. I was like, I mean, that's why you'll never confuse me for being a journalist, because I do not want to be part of that. If somebody told me some shit right away, I'm going to bark it and I'm going to talk it. And this is what I do. I don't sit on information because it best suits me later on down the line. That's a whole different job description for me. You told me a story, I'm reporting on it, like Howard or anybody else. I'm not sitting on shit. If somebody told me what went on with that collusion case, you think I'm going to sit around for 3 weeks and wait for that fucker to come out? Absolutely not. Well, you know, you have to have confidence. I don't want confidential sources. I've got friends. Because I'm not a journalist. Or I don't portray myself as one. So I talk to coaches and GMs. And if you're going to, they know better not to tell me shit. You know what's funny? I have such great relationships with people. I sent Xander Krause, Angelo Cataldi, and Howard Eskin a text that I got from the executive vice president of the Patriots about their interest in A.J. Brown. We inquired. That's straight from an executive from the Patriots. The New England Patriots called the Eagles for interest in A.J. Brown this season. That doesn't mean they're going to do anything. is what went down. Bobo Patullo. How about Angelo, man? He was in rare form today, boy. I'll tell you. That was one of the best segments of all time with him. Holy shit. He goes, I took a lot of pride in getting people fired. Hey, man, if that don't make the rounds with people talking about sports talk, nothing will. Nothing will. Nothing. Hold on here. I got to do one last thing here before I get Big Z up here. By the way, Big Z is killing it. He's one of the better younger guys that I like. And I'm not just saying that because if I thought he sucked, he'd never be on my program. I don't do that. I don't put people who blow on my program. It's just not going to work. I don't give a shit who you are. Okay? That's just not going to cut it. But here's something here. And people even forwarded this to the D. Howard Eskin went on Dan Sileo show recently. 2 dinosaurs trying to stay relevant in 2025. Get this. That's the first line of the story. And I'm like, well, it's contradicting in itself, isn't it, that you have our names and me and you're calling me irrelevant, but yet you start the story with my name. I don't know. No wonder JAKIB Sports is kicking the shit out of that website. Woo. Bobo Patullo. Without further ado, my favorite Bobo, the man who's the co-host of Birds 365, the man who would never give a nut up for anything. That's not happening. No nuts are to be given, no fingers, no nothing. Big Z. Xander Kraus joins us now, man.
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
That was a great conversation that you had today about Jordan Mailata. I really enjoyed it, man.
He's a great story, man. I'll tell you what, I think that story is going to age beautifully, too. Like, I think the further away you get, or maybe like once he retires, I think people will really look back at that story and be like, holy moly, man, what a crazy story. I mean, the guy couldn't put on a helmet when he got drafted. I mean, it takes some guys who played football their whole life 3-4 years to get acclimated. He did it quicker, and he played better than him with a bigger upside and more consistent play. I mean, he is literally playing as good as Lane Johnson right now. Think about that. A guy who couldn't put on his helmet when he got drafted is playing as good a football as a shoe-in Hall of Famer in Lane Johnson. By the way, at one of the hardest positions in the sport outside of quarterback. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Don't you think, and I'll say this again, Big Z, I think he's got more upside and I think he's more talented than Lane Johnson. Wow. That doesn't mean he's going to have a better career. Okay? And I'll tell you why. John's right on this. They changed the rules now for tackle. There's just a lot of competition at left tackle for that guy to be named to a Pro Bowl and to a first-team All-Pro when you're looking at the left tackles that you have to try to fight against to make it. Back in the day, you know why Lane's got more Pro Bowls? Because back then, they picked the best 2 left tackles, and those said those were your 2 best tackles.
Right.
They didn't go right and left. He's got more, because you asked the most important question. You went like this. How can this guy not be named to the Pro Bowl, and this guy was the highest rated player in the entire league? It's because, dude, they're going to look at wins. They're going to look at play. They're going to look at the players. You've got a ton of left tackles that are really great in this league. And he's got a lot more he's got more competition than what Lane does. By the way, why do you think Lane didn't make first-team All-Pro last year? Why do you think?
Well, I don't know why.
Because Penei Sewell had a better team during the regular season.
If you needed 1 year, would you take Lane Johnson or Penei Sewell?
Lane Johnson. But the point is not. But wait, that's not the point. The point was Detroit had a better regular season than the Eagles.
Yeah, that's fine. You're right. I mean, I don't know. When it comes to Mailata, I think I'll put him equal with Lane. I don't want to say he's better than I don't know. Lane Johnson's the best offensive lineman I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, but I've never seen an athlete like that play that left tackle position. Like maybe Anthony Munoz.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan does have he's 6'8". John says he's up to 380 now, and he moved. Like, I mean, the way the guy moved. I mean, the athleticism in the dude is it's unheard of.
I bet you he could beat Dallas Goedert in a 40.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Now look, I love it. I'll say this. I'm very happy he's a Philadelphia Eagle. He's a guy that makes you proud to be a fan. He really is.
You think that's the greatest find in draft history by Philly? Or do you
I
still
do.
think
That's why I said yesterday I thought your list on Brock Purdy, whatever it was, a couple days ago. I think he's one of the best picks in our team's history for sure.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah.
But again, I'm only going because of the quarterback and the position.
Yeah, Nell might not be wrong about this though. Like, I love Mailata and his story's crazy, but Jason Peters in his prime.
Well, Jason Peters is better than Lane too. I mean,
Well,
he's better than Lane.
Jason Peters in his prime is a rare breed.
Bro, he was an undrafted free agent.
That's crazy too. It's crazy too.
What do you make of this number here? So in 2024, Jalen Hurts is the 8th highest paid player in the National Football League.
I thought it was lower. I thought it was 10.
I did too. I did. I'll have to I'll double check that, but it's got 8th here on this. In 2024, Jalen Hurts had 0 games where he threw 3 or more touchdowns in the entire season. They make it.
No issue with it. Set up with a team, talent of the roster. Defense obviously did what they did. Saquon Barkley, when you have that guy, you're going to factor in. You're not going to throw the ball as much. When you have the 2 guys on the tackles that we just talked about, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata. Yeah, I mean, you don't throw the football as much, and the result of that is that you don't have as many touchdown throws, or you don't have as many games where you need to throw touchdowns like that. Especially, by the way, I think the biggest part of that, Sills, is the defense, because what do you do when you get ahead in a football game? You then run out the clock. That's like football 101 right there. And because the defense was so good last year and they kept the opponents to so few points, and the Eagles were so good at running the football early in games, late in games too, but they never really got into a game. Like, I can't think of one game, Sills, where we literally said, Jalen's got to throw us back into this game. We never had to do it. Everything, we were playing defense at the end of games way more than we had to play offense. I can't even remember a game last year where we had to play offense in the fourth quarter to go and win the game. So when you have that set up, when you have the players around you, you're not going to throw as many touchdown passes. When you're Dak Prescott and the Cowboys and you're losing every game by 7-14 at literally every moment of the game, yeah, you'll probably have more touchdown throws because you're looking for quick touchdowns. You're trying to move the ball down the field. You know, even Joe Burrow. Why did Joe Burrow have so many touchdown throws and yards last year? Well, defense sucked. They were behind every game. You know, so I think Jalen is –
That's the early.
It's also not his skill set, right? Like, it's also not what he does best in his bag of tools. So add that in with the running game. I have no concern with it at all.
You know, I tried that, and I was kind of kidding around here a little bit, but I'll ask you this. Why do you think don't you think there's 2 conversations? Like, when I asked the question, by the way, Jason, thank you guys. Guys, we're going to read all the supers here in a minute. Don't you think there's 2 different conversations that when we talk about, like, I asked the question, it was a simple question. Who do you think had a better season individually a year ago? Jared Goff or Jalen Hurts? I'm trying to get people to have conversations and say this. I'm not telling you that Jalen Hurts is not a better quarterback than Goff. I'm asking you who had a better year.
Yeah, I think probably Jared Goff had a better. I mean, if you're talking, you said individual. Individual isolates anything else but the player. And I think it's circumstantial. Again, I've talked about this all summer where, you know, people trying to get me, you and John, trying to get me in the corner here on this. It's circumstantial based on what I just said. Jalen didn't have to be Superman last year. So he wasn't. He was exactly who we needed to be for the team to win the football games that they needed to win. And we got ultimately the award that we wanted. So Jared Goff probably had a better individual season. I don't even know, by the way, what are Jared Goff's stats last year?
4,600 passing yards.
Yeah, I mean, that's
37 touchdowns, had 72 completion percentage, and a 68 quarterback rating. I mean, he was one of the top guys in the entire league. Now,
I'm actually a Goff guy. I actually like Goff's skill set.
I actually can't believe this is who he is. And I've never been a Goff guy. But he really is.
Early in his career, remember in Philly, we used to compare Wentz to him, and I thought we were right. Wentz was better at the time, but I mean, look, this is going on, I think, year 9 or year 10 for Jared Goff. He's become a really solid NFL
player. Better
player.
than Dak, don't you think?
I think he's more consistent than Dak. The thing with him is I do want to see him kind of rise up in one of these playoff games. It's not to say that he's played awful in the playoff games, but
he's won an NFC championship.
Yeah, it's true. And he did that in LA, but I thought last year, I mean, I don't remember. I know they got thumped by the Commanders.
They got crushed by the Skins.
Right. How did he play in that game? I'd like to see him rise up a little bit, or else Sills, you will fall quickly into Kirk Cousins territory where you're going to throw 4,600 yards and 37 touchdowns a year. But when the lights turn on and they turn up a notch, I thought Philly 500 said it beautifully yesterday. Is Lamar better than Jalen? Probably. But who am I picking for the guy in the playoffs? I think he's right. I'll give me Jalen. And that's kind of how I feel about Goff right now. But that's not to say that Goff's not a good player. He had his best year by far last year. 72.4% completion percentage. With how much he threw the ball, that's a great season for Jared.
I think they're taking a massive step back.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, you lose Ben Johnson. You lose what's the defensive coordinator's name? What's his name?
You lose Ragnow.
But who's the defensive coordinator's name?
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn. I'm sorry, I blanked on his name. I thought he was a great DC. It's the first time that Dan Campbell has had to reset his slate completely. Remember the first time Nick had to do that? It was very challenging. Most first-time head coaches, the first time they go through major coordinator change, it's an adjustment. So I don't think you're wrong about that, but I do think they're a pretty talented team. I mean, they got the receivers they got the 2 running backs, they got the offensive line. Obviously, you mentioned Ragnow, so take a hit there. Jared Goff, if he can be comparable to what he was last year, that's a good quarterback. So I think they're going to be good, but I do agree. I mean, isn't it kind of easy to say they'll take a step back, though? They won 15 games. Like, they're going to win, 12 this year, 13?
But I think that everyone in that division, I think the Bears are going to get a little better. I don't know how much. Green Bay is going to be.
Can I say something about the Bears? I feel like people are stuck in the Bears mindset, you could call it. And it's fine. I'm not saying people are wrong about that because the team sucks every freaking year. But objectively speaking, that's a good roster.
Yeah.
With a talented quarterback, with a good offensive mind at head coach, with what I think is pretty solid on both offensive line and defensive line. I mean,
10 games.
I'm like, I don't want to say the Bears are going to suck just because the thinking is the Bears always suck, right? And I'll use not to pick on you, but I'll use something that you use this for where you were wrong. C.J. Stroud is an Ohio State quarterback, and I kind of agreed with you at the time. I'm like, well, they don't produce QBs. But in hindsight, it's like, well, that's a talented player. Who cares where he played college ball? It's a talented player.
Yeah.
That's how I look at that team. I'm like, that's a talented football team. Now, maybe they suck.
My only problem is there's too many mercenaries. Like you have a lot of bought talent, not homegrown talent.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They've done better with drafting recently, though.
They have. I think the kid's Ryan Poles has gotten better at drafting. But still, at the end of the day, the difference between the Bears and the difference between the Eagles is that the majority of your talent's homegrown. They're hired mercenaries.
It's tough to comp those two, though, right? Because, Ryan Poles it's weird. Like, I'm not a Bears fan at all. I don't like the Bears. Nothing about the Bears has ever attracted me to them. I've never once I've never even liked the player that was on the Bears. But I do kind of get a kick out of the hate that Ryan Poles gets because I'm like, you have an infrastructure with a team and a franchise and an organization that has had catastrophic failure year after year, coach after coach, GM after GM, and everybody's going to like hold Poles' feet over the fire as if he sucks. And I'm like, he's done better than every other GM, and he's operating within the same infrastructure that everybody else operated within. Versus, you're right about Howie and the Eagles' homegrown talent, but look at what Howie had to go through to get here. He got fired. He got stuffed in a broom closet. He sucked at draft picks from 2016 to 2020.
That 17 team was a mercenary team.
Yeah, and Howie struggled with drafting until recent. So my point with it is Howie's had the good organization around him, and he's had the time to learn from his mistakes. I mean,
but the owner has given him
correct, and that's also a feather in Howie's cap. That's also a feather, like something that goes in his favor. Whereas Poles, it's like I don't know what kind of support Poles is getting. I really don't know. All I know is that everybody that came before him failed. Is that a knock on every guy that came before him, or is it a knock on the setup that they have in the organization that is literally breeding failure? Versus the Eagles have flipped the script to we're breeding success. Our draft picks have a higher percentage of hitting because they're brought into a better environment, which is better coaches and a better developmental group and a better organization and more stability from top to bottom. That increases your odds at success on macro and micro. So I have I don't think Ryan Poles has done a bad job as the Bears GM at all.
So let me go here with this. You say something all the time. I started thinking about it. So you say that the Eagles ran the ball because it became situational. Is that what you say?
Well, I say that the lack of passing was a situational result because they became so successful with the run. But yeah, situationally, it worked very well.
Well, wasn't that forced on them because the quarterback was turning the ball over at a massive rate from the previous year and in the first four? That don't you think that was forced more so than evolved?
Well, it was forced, but you could have argued it was an overreaction that worked out in their favor because, remember, yes, Jalen had a bad start to the year last year. 7 turnovers in 4 games. Remember, during the bye week, which was week 5, after game 4, all of us, you, me, and all of you in the chat were saying, what's wrong with the quarterback? Do we have a big issue here with the guy that's under contract and a big contract? We were all saying those things. Now, A.J. Brown missed 3 of the 4 games. Devontae Smith missed 2 games early. Lane Johnson missed a game early. And the defense was not what they were in the rest of the year and in the first 4 games. So you're right. They went to that because they weren't having success. But there is other context there that I think it's tough to hold. I mean,
he did have 26
turnovers
in 23 games. Remember, everybody on ESPN was putting those numbers up. I mean, remember, he was turning the ball over at a massive rate. Because I hear you say this. I'm not thinking you're wrong, bro. I'm trying to dissect
that. It's a good football combo. I understand.
Okay, yeah, that's from. I mean, did it evolve or did they get lucky? Do you think they really brought in Saquon Barkley to be the feature offensive attack player last year? I say no. I think they wanted him to be a complimentary guy.
And based on the way they played football in the first 4 weeks, you would be correct. And then because of how it unfolded in those first 4 weeks, and because of how good Saquon ended up playing, you're right. They totally pivoted and doubled down on what works. See, that is where, Sills, I give a lot of credit to the head coach because Kellen Moore didn't have the autonomy to make a decision like that.
No.
I'm no longer passing, guys. I'm going to run. That's a head coach decision. And in hindsight now, it was a perfect decision. It was played perfectly. And I actually don't think at the bye week, the conversation happened of, all right, guys, let's stop passing. Let's become a run team. I think they said, right now we're struggling. Right now, Jalen's not in rhythm. He's not playing ball in rhythm right now. Let's get him back comfortable. Let's find our feet, and let's go back to the basics and rely on the front and the running back for a little bit. or for maybe even a game. And then it worked so good week in and week out, again, that they never had to even uncork, the passing side of the offense again.
Let me go here with that then. So you think, and you're giving Nick the credit for adjusting, right? In the box.
Well, I think he's the only one that would make that macro adjustment.
No, I would think the head coach, we're going to have a different approach.
Right.
OC's not doing that. You're not.
Do you think when they switched to it, though, do you think they went at it from this is a game-by-game basis, or this is our new identity as our football team? Because I think they went at it from a game-by-game basis.
I think they wanted to stop the turnovers.
I agree.
I think they wanted the turnovers to stop, and they said, remember what Mailata and Lane and Jalen said after the bye? We had the most productive bye week since I've been here because everybody wanted to run the ball. They all said that. So what I think they had a conversation with it might have been players too, because if I remember correctly, the players and Lane and them went to the coaches and said, this is what we need to do. And you're right. So the guy had the autonomy. Well, let me ask you this then going into this year. Having weathered that first 4 games, do you think the organization has given Nick more autonomy on direction of the offense where he's going to have more control over Kevin Patullo, where I would say this. They adjusted a year ago. The year previous, they adjusted and it was wrong. They adjusted the last year. They got it right. If you're the owner and GM, don't you give Nick more say in that now going, well, wait a minute here. Maybe this is Nick's job here. How is the flow of the team going offensively? Because he was wrong once massively. He won a Super. Think about that. He went from the fucking total shits of offense to the winning of the Super Bowl because he did something in the bye that went like this. We got to stop these turnovers, man. And I don't care what that looks like. So how much control do you think he's going to have of the offense this year with Kevin Patullo? Or as Angelo would call him, Bobo Patullo.
I think he's going to have a lot. I mean, the other part of it
more than a year ago.
Well, I agree to some extent. I mean, I think they have a better understanding of their football team because the other thing is, we can't leave out who our quarterback is. All right? I don't really care what your opinion is on the player.
He may have more say.
But hear me out. I don't care if somebody loves Jalen or they don't like Jalen. Every player, whether it's Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, or anybody, list your favorite quarterback or whoever you're thinking of. Everybody has different skill set. Everybody has strengths. Everybody has weaknesses. Everybody plays the game a slightly different way. What is Jalen Hurts' strength? His whole career.
Adjusting.
What else? Playmaking with his legs.
Yeah, that's right.
So when you pivot to a run game, does it diminish what he did in the air? Yes, it does. Do his passing numbers come down? Yes, it does. Does A.J. Brown read books on the sideline and get upset he's not getting the ball enough? Yes, he does. But did we put our quarterback then in the best position where he became successful? Like, does Saquon run for 2,500 yards last year with Jared Goff as his QB in the same setup?
No.
I don't think so.
Way.
And that's the other part of it I think gets left out a little bit because we've become so accustomed to quarterback success is quantified by metrics, by numbers, by passing yards, by stats, by touchdowns. And I don't really think, especially with a unique player like Jalen, that that's a good thing to use because he's so versatile. He does things so many different ways, but his strength is his athleticism, his playmaking ability outside of the pocket, right? Even in 22, when Jalen was a top 3 MVP player by passing the ball, he made a majority of his play skills outside of the pocket. Yep. Maybe not running, but outside of the pocket. Outside, get around the pass rush, throw the ball downfield, right? So I think what they did actually played into his skill set too. And while his numbers came down, you can make an argument he played a pretty damn good year. He put a pretty damn good year. It just didn't really show on paper, and there was moments I do think that he didn't play good. I think the Rams game in the playoffs, he didn't play great. I mean, even Tom Brady or whoever was calling that game, I forgot. I think it was Brady. They were talking about
they're going to
if
need
they
more.
want to go. Yeah, if they want to beat and win the NFC Championship game, they're going to have to pick up the passing a little bit more. Like he did struggle at times, and I think that clouded kind of his overall season. But I think he's a playmaker, and I think it worked for him really well. So I think that's important context as well.
How about this one? There's two teams that have given the Eagles the last 2 years a tough game, and that's been the Rams and the Bucs. So I found this out, and boy, I'll tell you, you want to know why the Eagles run circles around teams?
Well, only in the playoffs, the Rams. But go ahead.
Okay, you know why they run circles around teams? So check this out. So fucking Tristan Wirfs goes under the knife July 8th, 10 days before the start of training camp. You had the entire fucking offseason to know that guy was walking in a brace in OTAs and minicamp, and you waited, and now there's more than likely he's going to be on the PUP list. You know what that means?
4 games.
He misses the first 4 fucking games.
Yeah,
that means he misses the Eagle game.
Great news. Great news. What happened there, though?
What we get this.
You got to be roasting that in your Tampa show. You got to be
killing them. I'm like, who's your fucking team doctor? Dr. Seuss? I go, dude, are you fucking crazy? You're telling me he's better than Mayfield. This is why, and I said it, this is why the Eagles run circles around people, because they're not waiting until they go, well, okay, July 8th, the best player and the left tackle. What's the record with the Eagles without Lane?
Not good. Can't be good.
Okay. Well, what do you think the record is without Wirfs? Not good. I told him I'd rather lose Mike Brown. I'd rather lose the receiver. I'd rather lose Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
Bro, this is why the Eagles are totally killing everybody, is because they make right decisions. They're healthier all the time. They may miss on a player, but you know what they're not missing on? The need at the position. Like they need an edge rusher. Okay, they fucked up on Bryce Huff. The move's not wrong. The evaluation of the player was wrong. That doesn't mean their ideology of what they're looking for was wrong. I'm just like, man, no wonder. And again, so the Bucs do this. Watch this, Xander. The Bucs move back. They move back to the line where they were one of the teams that I thought that could push them. And because of Todd Bowles, now Howie and that team have done so much moving around personnel. I don't know if it's going to affect the Eagles getting back to the NFC title game. I just don't really. What other team has made the right moves where you went, holy shit? The Rams and who? The Rams, like, who do you fear in the NFC?
Well, I don't really fear anybody. Let's be real. I mean, I don't. I'm not even just saying that as an Eagle fan. The Rams are good. I respect them. The Bucs are good. I respect them. I think the Commanders could be good. I respect them. Fear? I don't fear anybody in the league right now. If you're the Eagles, I don't fear anybody. I don't fear the Chiefs. I don't fear the Bills. I don't fear the Ravens. Who?
So
Why?
You still have question marks on the defense, though.
Well, you have question marks, but that's a different question than I fear because I think they're better. When you say fear, I used to play hockey. Every once in a while, you would come across an opponent at some point in your travel career where, they were the team. You were it was like the U.S. versus Soviets in the 1980s. You weren't even supposed to hang in the game. There's no team in the NFL that is even close to that. In fact, there's probably 15 teams in the NFL right now that would say that about the Eagles.
Oh,
I'm not even in their room.
Let me tell you this. I was talking to Tim Brando, and Tim Brando, college football guy, and he was telling me that, I played on historic teams. And he said this. He goes, when you guys walked into a room, everyone feared you guys. And I'm like, you're right. They feared us. I didn't fear
It used to
anybody.
be Bama under Saban too.
That's right. When you walk in, when you saw the Bama helmet, you were like this. Damn.
That's part of domination too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not only am I better than you, not only am I stronger than you, not only am I faster and quicker than you, but when I line up, I fucking know it.
Yeah.
I know it, and I know that you know it. That's called mental battle. That's the mental battle right there. That's the game within the game. All right. Mental domination, baby. I've been doing it my whole life.
Man. So Angelo says Bobo Petula will be replaced by week 4. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, because Angelo's track record is really strong in the Sirianni era. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything Angelo says, take the opposite.
He was on fire today, boy.
If Angie said that Petulo's gone, probably take the bet that Petulo will be a head coach in a year.
He's going to be the Bills' next head football coach, right up there with Josh Allen after they fire that scumbag Sean McDermott.
I don't know what they're waiting on. What are they just going to wait for Josh Allen's prime to end to fire that coach? I've never seen anything like it in my life.
No doubt, man. You're just hanging in there. Hey, I wrote these coaches down. Then we'll get to the supers here. So I wrote these guys down as the 5 guys that I think are on the hot seat. I wrote Sean McDermott down at 5, Buffalo. Shane Steichen, Indianapolis, 4. I've got Mike McDaniels, Miami, 3. I've got Zach Taylor, Cincinnati, 2. And I got Brian Dable, 1. New York Giants. Would you add anybody?
I'd maybe take off Shane because of what happened with the owner.
Great take.
Are his 3 daughters that just took over the team going to fire the coach after 1 year? Might be better for them to get some stability.
Anthony Richardson was a bad pick, though, and if he had anything,
he was a very bad pick.
Yeah, but don't remember you and me both saying this.
Was that a same pick, or was that remember that Jim Irsay when he was alive? I mean, he was a wild card.
That's Chris Ballard's pick.
I think Chris Ballard's overrated. I think he's very overrated.
He is. He's not a very good general manager. I don't think he's a very good general manager, but I remember you and me both going, guy was 51% at Florida. Where in the world is he going to improve that in the NFL? You think he's going to improve his passer rating and his completion percentage? The guy was a turnover machine.
Who did they go to after they got rid of Wentz after 1 year? Because Wentz had like a decent year there. He was like 24 touchdowns.
He had 3,700 yards, 27 TDs, 9 picks.
Yeah, 7 picks. He had a good year. And then he acted like he was like dirt on the bottom of a shoe. I was like, yeah, that's how you know the owner is just once you get in your own way, once you believe that your ego is above what's actually happening, you got.
Oh, I know who they went with, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, there you go. Kyle just said it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they went with Matt Ryan, and then they went with Gardner Minshew. All right. So let's get to these supers, Xander.
Let's do it. We did get a couple. One dude I want to hit gave this when you were on with Angelo. Pin. Thank you, Pin. This is a cool comment. He says, it's amazing the amount of content JAKIB Sports provides during the offseason. You guys are awesome. Sills, John, Xander, and Krause, take a bow. No bow necessary, but Pin, I appreciate it, man. People like you keep us on the air, so we appreciate you very much, brother.
Absolutely great stuff. And by the way, let me say this to you, Pin. That's when you know you're listening to the top. And by the way, Joe Krause told me too. This is why we're the #1 content creator when it comes to being in Philadelphia digitally. We are the best. And the reason why we are is because you know why? People like you. We say it every day. We have a lot of fun. We bitch and go back and forth. But at the end of the day, this thing doesn't roll without you folks.
I'm waiting for these old heads to like, I don't know, show me the ropes on something. Like every time these fucking old heads tell me something, none of it pan out. Angelo, Howard, Dan, John. It's like, holy shit, the fan who did his first year on content comes in, says they're going to win 13, 14 games and win the Super Bowl. And I'm right all the way through. It's like, are these old heads going to teach me a thing or two? I'm teachable. I want to be taught. I'm losing my trust.
There he is. Look, see what he's done right there, folks. That's okay, little grasshopper. I get it, little man. It's okay. You keep going along.
No. After last season, You're the little grasshopper. Okay, I'm like a zero-turn lawnmower going over your grass.
God. You know, I knew this was going to be horse shit after these guys won the world championships. I knew this. I go,
wait. Can you say that one more time?
No, I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to. Because I'm not. Hey, by the way, where's M. Reyes, fanboy? How you doing, bro?
Love M. Reyes. A-Team, check it in. Thank you, A-Team. He says, Mailata, if he keeps going, deserves consideration for Hall. He's been an amazing story, and us Eagles are so blessed for the players we have. A lot of people take it for granted. Even our wide receiver core is night and day since McNabb era. This is where, I mean, players are great, and I appreciate them, but don't get me wrong. But Howie has really done a special job with this team. And can you imagine Donovan with a team like this? Donovan never. And look, I'm not the biggest Donovan McNabb fan, but
he wouldn't want.
He wouldn't have?
No, I'll tell you why.
I agree. He was a little bit of a choker. He wasn't my favorite quarter. I'm just saying that the contrast between the eras is nuts.
He couldn't handle sharing stardom.
Yeah.
Here's why. True. How do you think Donovan would have handled A.J. Brown reading a book on the bench versus Jalen going like this? Look, didn't do anything.
Jalen's a stoic dude, man. He really is. He's a calm, cool customer.
Total leader.
Yeah, he's a cool customer. Yes,
because
he is.
How many, even Joe Theismann, years after him playing went, what the fuck was that? Dude, quarterbacks are not going to.
Yeah, right. They don't tolerate that shit.
They're not going to tolerate. Jalen went just like this. Well, if we're going to talk about it,
it's ingrained into them. They're quarterbacks their whole life. They go through high school and everybody gasses them up. They go through college. It's quarterback syndrome.
I know, right.
Jalen doesn't have that though. He's a little bit of a special dude in that way.
Actually, he has an offensive lineman's mentality.
Every once in a while, you get your what do you call Oprah Hertz or something.
I was talking to my boy MJ about and I was talking to fucking Hercules about, then he's over there.
A while, but listen, as long as
he of course, and he gets his blue carpet thing, and he's hanging out with Oprah Winfrey, he's hanging out with Meghan Markle. You know, these guys, him and the King and the Prince Harry.
Well, he's a Super Bowl MVP, something that Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson can't say. You know,
I know that's what makes him better.
Yeah, Jim Adams, check it in. What's up, Joe? Oh, real quick on Jason Super. You think Mailata has a chance at the Hall?
I think Mailata I think the Pro Bowls in the end are going to kill him.
Yeah, but what if he gets 7 more? Like Lane's 35. I know it's lofty because Lane's an exception, not the rule. But what if Mailata can log 7 seasons now? He's 28. So what if he can log 7 seasons and then get 7 Pro Bowlers, maybe 3 more first-team All-Pros and 2 more second-team All-Pros in the next 8 years?
This is what I would say. If you have the number one rushing if you have another back do 18 or 1900 yards, and you have something like that with all the Pro Bowl running backs that have played in Philadelphia during his time, he gets 3 Super Bowl rings. I don't know if he needs 3, 2. He's already been to 1, so if he gets 2 Super Bowl rings, and he has been in 3 total, and he gets 5 Pro Bowls, and you have a 2,000-yard back, maybe you have another 2,000-yard back. I don't know. Maybe you have another 1,500-yard back, and it's considered one of the greatest O-lines of pro football history. Let me say this to you, Xander. There's only been one guy off that Dallas Cowboy offensive line during the Super Bowl era that made the Hall of Fame, and that was Larry Allen.
Wow.
So it wasn't like they had a bunch of guys
that
went to Canton. Okay, so I think 5 would do it for him, and 2 Super Bowl rings would get him into Canton. Plus his story. You got to put the story in there too. This guy didn't come out of Alabama or Georgia as a top 5 pick. This guy was the 7th pick. He never put a helmet on 8 years ago. And here he is playing with the best and was he really graded the number 1 player in the NFL?
Yeah. Highest offensive graded player in the NFL.
No.
Yeah, overall.
No, not
overall.
O-line.
No, overall player.
I didn't know that. I heard you say that, and I thought you misspoke.
No,
I thought you misspoke.
PFF. Yep. Now it's
That's
PFF,
crazy.
so some people like it, some people don't. But on theirs, he was the highest.
Yeah, but do you know why I believe that? Because he doesn't touch the ball or tackle anybody.
Yeah.
You're telling me he had the highest grade of anybody? That's pretty.
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll see what ends up happening with it. Jason 18, thank you, brother. You know I love you and I appreciate you. Jim Adams checks in. He says, "Great program, fellas. Keep up the good work." Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it, man. I love that Kelly Green logo you got there, too. 24 Birds checking in. The 24 Birds are Super Bowl champs. Checks in and says, "How does Jalen as a complete quarterback compare to Cunningham or Vic?" That's a great question. Off the top of my head, Sills, I would say Jalen has lower highs and higher lows than those guys, but his consistency to this point is better than both.
Jalen Hurts is nowhere in the talent level of Cunningham or Vic. However, he's a better quarterback than them. He's just a better quarterback than them. Vic is more if you're going to tune on a tape, who do you want to watch, Vic or Hurts? I don't give a shit about tush pushes. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff when I'm watching for entertainment. Vic said, when I want to win a game, that's pretty much becoming the staple of Hurts. Hurts is not going to blow your brains out when it comes to really entertaining quarterback play. Vic is going to wow you. Cunningham was going to wow you.
Vic was in his heyday.
But then again, at the end of the day, Brady.
Yeah. What do you have to show for it?
How about this, though? Brady? Yeah, right. Look at Brady. Brady was kind of a boring player, too. He wasn't really a guy. He was a check down guy his entire fucking career. You think he's Aaron Rodgers? I don't. Aaron Rodgers is more aesthetic to watch. He's got more talent. He's not a better player, though.
Yeah, you always say that thing about Hurts being smart. You know, I think Forrest is right. Vic wasn't as smart as Jalen.
No, that's not fair. What I'll say about Michael Vick is this: not that he was.
No, I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean it in the way that you use it with Jalen versus Lamar. Like Jalen sees his way around the game better than Vic saw his way around the game. Not that Vic is like I don't mean it like that.
I got it. You're right. I got it. Wait, here's why Vic wasn't smart to what you're saying and how you're putting it in that room. Vic said that he didn't learn how to fucking read a playbook until he got to Andy Reid.
You're right.
He had been in the league, obviously his stint in jail, but he had been in the league 10 years.
And that's because his talent was so good.
He was just living off the talent.
Yeah.
He wasn't living off this. Can you imagine if he had Andy Reid early in his career? Imagine if he had Andy Reid early in his career, what he would have done.
Yeah, Vic was a special player, man.
Well,
very talented player. Very talented.
Let me say this to you. Randall Cunningham was Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. He just didn't have an O-line in front of him.
Right.
The Eagles did not have a priority in O-line like they do. You know, Jeffrey Lurie will go down in my book as this. Because of the previous owner, he was told that owner, Norman Brayman, did not believe in offensive linemen. He's made it a priority since he's owned the team. I don't ever remember the Philadelphia Eagles having a bad O-line since he's owned the team. I just don't remember. You've had Howard Mudd as a coach. You've had Jeff Stoutland. Bro, you hired the best coaches in the NFL at that position. So some would say you've hired better assistant coaches at that position than you've had head coaches. Howard Mudd will go to the Hall of Fame one day, and so will Stoutland. Stoutland's the second greatest offensive line coach next to Dante Scarnacchi in NFL history because he's dealing with a salary cap era where you lose players all the time. And Stoutland is in. I mean, Scarnacchi's got 5 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
And get this, not one guy will go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. All right, we'll get to a couple more Super. Is that thing too loud? Can you hear that thing? I gotta
wait. By the way, let me ask you this. Your dad said my mic's working.
It sounds a little better, but I wasn't at the start of the show. I was in my car trying to get home, so I didn't get the setup opportunity. But
your dad said that it's sounding a lot better.
It does sound a little better. I don't know. You guys in the chat, you let me know. It was one of those things where my ears are a little warped on it. I got the window AC though. No central air in this puppy. All right. We got window units only. All right. So It's getting a little hot in here. I got to turn on the
Hey.
window unit.
I actually like window units. I'm good with that shit. Man.
That's all I got. Window unit in my room, window unit here, man. All
I
right,
like
Here we go. East Coast Rico says, what's y'all's top 5 opponents this year? All right, let me pull it up. Eagles, 2025 schedule. I'd say Rams, Commanders, Bills, Chiefs, maybe Bucks.
Let's see. I'll go Rams. It's in KC early, so I'll say Chiefs.
Lions.
All right,
I got my 5.
Commanders. So I'll go Chiefs, Rams, Commanders, Bills, and Lions.
Yep, those are my 5. Chiefs, Rams, Bills, Commanders, and Lions.
I want to see what the Bucks look like.
I wanted to put, if I put a 6th, it would be the Bucks.
Yeah. If the Bucks would be 5th, if worth.
Remember, we're playing the NFC North this year. So the Vikings, the Packers, the Lions, and the Bears. That's kind of an interesting division this year. So I'm excited for that, but they didn't make my top 5. The Lions.
You're playing the NFC North, and you're playing the AFC West?
Yeah, AFC West.
Yeah, and you're playing that Charger game is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it should be good. You're a Herbert lover, and I'm not. Chris Scott checking in.
Actually, I'm a Jim Harbaugh lover.
Chris Scott checking in. You got a weirdo thing with Herbert. I don't like it. Chris Scott says, everyone give a $5 super chat to show Jacob our appreciation. Here's my 5. Chris, thank you very much, brother. We appreciate that, man. We appreciate that. So we got great
yes.
We got a great listening audience, don't we?
And how about this too? Very generous.
Yeah, they're just awesome. I mean, I seriously love talking to them every day. You know, the problem with it is, I'll tell all you guys, this is my problem. I only have so much social battery in life, and you guys satisfy every part of that. So when I get off the air, I'm turning into big sills. It's like, shut up, everybody. All right.
Don't bug me.
But it's all good. All right. It's all good.
This is what you need. Ready? I have a lounge chair that I kick my feet up. I get a couple Coronas.
I'm sure you do.
And I do this. Don't fucking bug me. Okay? I don't want anybody talking to me. I don't want anybody aggravating me. I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear any of that stuff.
I'm with you.
Okay?
Hey, what's up,
I got some news for you, man. Remember I told you we're going to start going through the schedule? We're going to get, what's his name, on Stephen Jones again next week, like Wednesday. Nice. He hasn't been on it a bit. Yeah. And he said he wants to make an appearance back on again. So Stephen Jones is going to come on next week.
We got to get like Mark Holmes to submit a question, and we'll have like the Mark Holmes question or something on it. Abe says, Abe, what's up, dude? Great talking with you today. I got to answer you. Abe says, almost a year as a member. Can't wait for the pre and post game shows. J-Mac versus Sills and the Barkley giveaways. Let's go, Abe. Let's run it up, baby. It's going to be another good year, Abe. And thank you, man. 11 months, Abe. That's what, last August? So thank you, dude. Thank you. That's pretty cool.
Bro, I got to ask you one question before you read this. What gave you the balls?
On what?
I fucking couldn't believe you called
John.
What? You called John out.
On what? What'd I call him?
Hey, John, I got a question for you. You know, when those embargoed, you know, doesn't it count?
Oh, yeah.
I go like this. I go, you didn't go. You're not going to go there. You know, if you know any information, isn't that kind of counterproductive of being a B writer? I was like, holy fuck. Now, John answered it politically correct.
He did. He gave the good explanation. But I do kind of still think what I think.
Well, let me just put it to you this way. Do you think I'd sit on anything if somebody fucking told me something?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, are you if you're not giving information that you're given by the team, which I get it, if he gives it out, then they're not going to give him the information anymore. So I understand that part of it, but I don't know. Like, I feel like that's kind of the point of the job, is to like uncover that stuff and get it to the people. But I don't know.
But don't you think it's what Angelo just got through saying about being controlled by a team?
Wait. We got to move on. I don't want to talk about Johnny. Kimberly says Daniels is good, but the roster is the oldest in the NFL. It's literally a geriatric home, Kimberly. Sileo will be wrong. John will be wrong. And the grasshopper will win again. The Commanders will take a step back.
NFC East champions will be the Washington Commanders. Remember, I said that, folks.
I will wear a Jaden Daniels jersey on the show.
How about this, Kimberly? Big Skills said last year, one of my superstar comments a year ago, that Daniels will be the rookie of the year and he will take that team to the playoffs. And they did. I said they would win the East. They were one game out from winning the East, and they made it to the NFC title game. How are you doing?
I will 100%. My stone cold lock of the season is that the Washington Commanders will not win the NFC. Take that to the bank, everybody. 0% chance. Zero.
Oh, grasshopper.
They say everything. There's a chance of everything. You can't rule it out. No, I'm ruling it out completely. No chance. Look at East Coast Rico. He says, y'all got me hooked. I get in trouble by my girl. I yelled Jahan Dotson all day.
Dotson. Oh, my God.
Oh, man, that's funny. That is funny. Twiz the Jigger says, put the Corona down and open up the app. Simon Dallas Page will never come on this show again until Sileo opens the app.
Hold on. Have I opened that fucker yet? Let me see. I don't believe I have.
No, you haven't. He's got tracking on your link too, so he knows when you open it.
I think he does, man, because he keeps texting me. How come I don't see that?
You can see when someone clicks a link.
He goes like this. How come you don't? Here, wait. Nope, I ain't opened it yet.
I got to run. You want me to produce the segments from your show, or you want me to have nothing tonight?
Stop fucking moaning. You sound like all these guys.
Moaning? You've been moaning for 3 hours and 38 minutes. What are you talking about, moaning?
Oh, I think I got to take another break, don't I?
You know, speaking of the women in our life, what's his name? Rico. East Coast Rico brings up his girl getting mad at him. You know what my girl says to me? No, this is her new thing. If we're ever in a kerfuffle I'm ever putting my foot down. You know what she says to me now?
What?
I'm not Sileo. Stop debating with me. I'm like, oh my God.
Hey, folks, this is what happens when you hang out with Big Sills too long, man. You start becoming some of the shit that we do here.
Oh, man. I'm not Sileo.
Let me tell you what my wife says. This is not a debate. I'm not one of the fucking people you talk to. Okay? This is not a debate. So, all right,
exactly what it said. All right, everybody. I love all you guys.
I appreciate you. Hey, by the way, real quick, we're going to get Jason Cole on again tomorrow. And you know what he's going to do? How about that shit with that guy, Lloyd Howard, he talked about with the players getting hosed over like that. And this is really going to be a huge – I disagree with John. He's right, though, on this, that it's going to be a big story because that guy has been colluding with the owners to keep player salaries down. And the Eagles told them to go fuck themselves. We're going to give signing bonuses in void years. This is why they're mad at Philly.
Right.
They're mad at Philly because guess what? Everybody conformed with the NFLPA executive director except Philly. Wow. Bro.
Philly.
No doubt, man. They told him to go to hell.
Elizabeth says, YouTube fighting is worse than the Sileo household. I may be making him worse too, that Elizabeth.
Hey, Elizabeth.
All right, everybody. I love all you guys. International, 18, Philadelphia, Steve, Elizabeth, Yale. What's up, Yale? Abe, I love all you guys, man. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. Really, you guys are making our dream become a reality. We get to talk sports, and we couldn't do it without you. So I love all you guys. I even love you, Big Silly. I look forward to taking it belt to ass again tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the flip side, everybody.
What a turd. I love the kid too, man. Absolutely. This is why, again, this is my favorite show that I do. It's been my favorite shows I've done for a long time. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Elizabeth giving out secrets from the family. Holy cow, my grandfather would just be absolutely very disappointed right now. Very disappointed, Elizabeth. Hey, my good friends at Morgan & Morgan, with over $30 billion recovered. Morgan & Morgan is the number one injury law firm in the entire country, and they are number one for a reason. It's because they win, okay? They win, and this is what makes them number one. $30 billion they've recovered with families across the country, with thousands of attorneys from coast to coast. This is why the number one injury law firm supports the Dan Sileo show, the National Football Show, and JAKIB here. We so appreciate it. And guys, do me a favor. If you're ever injured, go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That is forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales, hit the like button. Appreciate you guys very much. Who do you believe is the best dual threat quarterbacks in the NFL right now? I wrote 5 guys down. And I'm going to make a point to you about your boy Hurts. Top 5 QBs in the NFL. Let's do this first. And I'm going to show you what makes him different. Best quarterback in the NFL. Pure passer, Joe Burrow. Mahomes, Allen, Lamar. 5. Told you I can't put him out and not have Jalen in there. I'm not going to put Jaden Daniels based off of 1 year, so I'll put Hurts there. Okay. Best 5 dual threat. Lamar. Kyler Murray. Allen. Jaden Daniels, dual threat. And Hurts. If you look at that list, there's really only 3 guys in the league. Lamar, Allen, and Hurts that you could put on the top 5 quarterbacks in the league and the top 5 dual threat quarterbacks. Right? Burrow's no dual threat. Right? So, I mean, the versatility. This goes right down the line of what I'm talking about with how this guy is. You know what I'm saying? So, wait a minute. He's one of the top 5 QBs overall, and he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks dual threat. Well, this is why he's able to have 5 or 6 or 7 different offensive coordinators, because he's adaptable and the guy understands, again, he can adjust his game to whatever. Bro, I don't give a shit what you think. Kyler Murray, the last time he played you, he beat you. I mean, the guy's a dual threat player. I didn't say he was I didn't put him in the top 5 quarterbacks in pro football. I put Kyler Murray as one of the dual threat guys, one of the better dual threat guys in the game. Okay? Cardinals beat us when? You must have forgot the year prior to last year when they played you. He beat you. Or you forgot that, senorita. Of course you did. Jesus criminy. Again, this guy has amnesia. Forgets. Because he'd rather be lied to. Again, I'm not telling you he's the best, one of the top 5 guys in the league. That's not what I said. But again, like, no, bro. You said they beat us? Talk about a guy changing the sticks. Holy cow. Senorita, it's all good, sweetheart. Don't worry. Okay, well, you're not undefeated against Kyler Murray. And you're not undefeated against Baker Mayfield. How you doing? How you doing? I know, sweetie. There you go. You sound like you belong in Antifa. Senior Antifa football, senorita football, baby. Mr. Antifa. Hey, I can't fight you with my brain, so I'll hit you with a stick. Yeah. Right. And what's your record versus Todd Bowles? How you doing? Oh, man. Love it. How you doing? Sills, there's no better quarterback run duo threat in the NFL than these two, Hurts and Barkley. Yes. 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 That's true. They're the best quarterback running back duo. Yes. You're not the best quarterback wide receiver duo, though. How could you be? Your passing offense sucks. Okay? Now this guy's, see, this is what Senorita, my sweetheart girl here, doesn't get. It's not what I want to say. I say what's the right thing to say. Sorry, honey. Sorry, honey. I would say that because Jalen Hurts helps the run game. Lamar does too, but the quarterback in Philadelphia does more for the structure of what they do. You don't have the best quarterback wide receiver duo. How could you when you're 30th? How can you when you're 30th? Or you don't use it. Whatever you want to use. You don't use the passing game. We had the best wide receiver quarter. No, you don't. Dan, what would Murray be like if he was on the Eagles? I don't believe he's as accurate a passer as Jalen. I think he's a really good player. But I do not believe. Too bad you don't use it. Too bad you don't use it. We use it if we need to. Well, guess what? A theory is not fact. That's a theory, my good friends. Yeah, this thing here with the NFL Players Association. Let's see here. Yeah. What was this? 8th and 23 with 23 turnovers. I hate it. Let's see here. This thing here with this thing here with the NFL Players Association. I'm sorry, this is a big deal. This is a big deal here. This Lloyd Howe guy petitions emerges to remove Lloyd Howe as NFLPA executive director. I've got a petition that I have to sign, and I'm going to. Here, let me show you where that is. Let's see if I can bring it up. I can't. I'm not allowed to. Because it's got NFL Players Association shit. I wanted to post this. Maybe I can retract some of it. I want that guy out. The guy is absolutely, brother. Dude, that guy is hurting players by working with the NFL. I got you, brother. You're right. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. I won't. I would get a call from the league on something like that because there's lawyer shit in here. They're saying he conspired against the NFL Players Association, making and receiving funds from the NFL owners, and that Roger Goodell held secret meetings with him. I'm going to leave it there. Holding player salaries down. Wow. Can you imagine this? You have a union rep, and he represents all the players. There's a case that would help you get more money. Your boss of the union decided not to tell you that you won the case and was being paid behind the scene from the owners as a consultant for somewhere else. This is why I tell you, when all of those players hug Roger Goodell, okay, they hug Roger Goodell when they go on stage. Why are you hugging Roger Goodell? He's stealing money from you. Do you know Roger Goodell is the highest paid non-owner player in pro football? He makes more than any player in the NFL with full guaranteed benefits. That guy makes $65 million a year. No quarterback in the NFL makes more than that. And he gets full guarantees. Full guarantee in his pension. The players do not. And you hug that guy every year. And now you've got an accomplice. I don't know how, when you negotiate, you can negotiate with the owners in good faith, knowing full well they had a plan. They basically had a plan at the executive directors level, colluding with the NFL. That's not how. Get this, Yale. How is that not collusion? The executive director of the NFL Players Association was in collusion with the owners to keep players' guaranteed contracts or guaranteed salaries down. And you won the case, and you didn't tell the players and their agents of the result. And both the league and the executive director held that from his constituency. I don't know what else to say. But then again, we have the worst union in pro football. They're the worst union. We have the best and biggest league in America and the worst union. Because you know why? The owners swim with guppies and eat guppies. I got to give it to Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie went like this. Yeah, well, we're not doing that. We're going to give void years. We're going to give guaranteed contracts. And by the way, I think Howie Roseman sees the writing on the wall, knowing that the league is going to change so much shit. Okay? SBN's reporting states is that NFLPA reached a confidentiality agreement with the NFL to suppress such details as Johnny's defamation that the league encouraged owners to reduce contract guarantees. ESPN, I got it. Yeah, now you're getting Wickersham, and you're getting a whole bunch of people now that are quality reporters that are now reporting the facts, and people were sweeping this under the carpet. Do you know the only team that's not going to get hammered with this? Philly. Philly could turn around and go, not us. Look at the guaranteed monies we gave. Look at the upfront money and the renegotiating that you guys do. Man, the owners must have thoroughly hate you guys. I did too. Guys, great stuff. Hey, man. Can't thank you enough. By the way, Stephen Jones next week. The CEO of the Dallas Cowboys is going to join us, and we're going to talk with him and get his thoughts. Get a whole bunch of people lining up. I can't thank you guys enough. Joe, Xander, thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we'll see you on the flip side.